What is going on, Busta Rift? Yo, what's going on, Cosmic? Hope you're doing well, dude. Appreciate you tuning in. How's it going, chat? We got a special stream today. No pirate ship nonsense today. First off, how's it going, chat? Hope you're doing well. What's up? What's up? I have my Xbox controller. I actually played a little Halo 3 last night, watching Djibouti show. They had a birthday stream, so I hopped in. But I hope everyone's doing well. I actually ended up using mouse and keyboard. I couldn't go back to controllers. Too wild. But today we got a special stream. I told you guys I've been working on my own game, a fishing-based or a fishing-themed RTS inspired tabletop wargame, and aptly named Tackling the Apocalypse, thanks to Jenny Bratz. And we had like somewhat of an idea and a concept, and then I like threw that out the window and completely changed it to like an RTS style inspired tabletop game. And I've been working on it every night. Usually that's like my nighttime thing when I wind down. I'll sit in the backyard, you know, puff a couple, and in nice cool nighttime weather, and go on my notepad on my phone and just write out the ideas. But I've gotten a pretty solid concept. I think it's gonna need a ton of work, but we have enough to where we're going to today give it a try. We're going to test out some basic mechanics and some ideas here and see what we could do. I have this old thing that I built a while ago for like a Savage Worlds video where it's like looks like water. So this is our water map, if you will. And I just laid out like a very simple kind of map layout, if you will, for having some like terrain and whatnot. So I'll give you a basic rundown of how the game works. I still haven't finalized certain things, and we're going to be coming up with like basic mechanics on the fly here as we stream. But so the idea is it's very heavily inspired by something like Warcraft 3, for instance, or like Age of Empires. So there's three. I'll give you an idea. Give you the rundown. There's three basic unit types. There's fishing unit types, scrapping unit types, and then military unit types. Your fishing unit types get a benefit to gathering, and then I should mention, so there's three unit types. There's three resources. There's food as a resource that you can spend to spawn more units, or maybe even refresh units. Then there's scrap, which you can use to spawn units or refresh units, and then there's loot. When the loot can give you has a chance to give you either fish, scrap, or special items that can give you a benefit to your unit. You can give it to a unit that picks it up. So the idea is the fishing ships. There's two ideas. Either the fishing units can only gather fish, and they get a bonus to their fishing roll, right? Because you're going to make a roll to try and catch fish. You're going to make a roll to try and catch scrap. Scrapping units get a benefit to their scrap roll. Military units cost either... and military units will cost, if it's a ranged unit... Or the other thing I should say is, food units are melee units. Scrap units are ranged units. So military units cost double what the worker units, you could say, will. Anyways, it's a little... I need to find a way of laying everything out. But so food units gather food, and they're melee. Scrap units are ranged units, and they gather scrap. But so it's like, why wouldn't you just use the like cheaper gathering units? Well, that's because the military units have the added benefit to the rolls. So I still haven't figured out. Do food unit is it like do we give a bonus to the food units gathering food and a bonus to scrap? But either way, so the whole idea is you have a food unit that is like your worker unit. It can do like every unit can fight, but the military units have the added, they're better in fighting, right? So think of like Age of Empires or like Warcraft 3. You have your little workers, your peons. They're going to be gathering food or scrap, and then you can spend that scrap. You're going to, at the end of the turn, you're going to tally up how many, or through the game turn, you're going to tally up how many resources you have, and then at the start of the turn, you can spawn units and stuff like that. So you use your food units to get food, scrap units to get scrap, and then you spend those as the game goes on to get stronger units like military units. So you'd spend your scrap on a ranged military unit, and you'd spend your food on a melee military unit, is the idea. So you kind of have to go out and do stuff. You have to capture objectives, because objectives can give you a little benefit to your rolls. So it's better if you're proactive and you go out and do stuff, as opposed to staying at your home base. But so, like, for instance, I'll just give you a basic rundown. We're going to have to, like, kind of just play this out and see how it works. I'm a little all over the place, but I'll show you. So we're going to represent our 4 units here on the board. We have I have little farm animals that are unpainted. These are our food gathering units. We have our Turnip 28 guys here with the muskets. These are going to be our scrap gathering units, our little workers, okay? Food gathering worker, scrap gathering worker. Now, they can fight, they can capture objectives, they can do everything, but it's, you know, they're weaker, essentially. They're not as good as, like, or they don't have the added benefit in combat. Then we have our unpainted Americans here are going to be our melee military unit, and our painted American units are going to be our ranged military units. So the idea is, for each team, I gave 2 food unit gathering units and 1 range gathering unit. The idea is, in reality, the way the game will work is you start the game with a set amount of resources, and it's like, let's say 5, and it's either 5 fish or 5 scrap, or it could be any combination, 3 fish and 2 scrap. And what you do is that allows you, at the start of the game, you're like, all right, I'm going to have 3 food gathering units, 2 scrap gathering units, and they're going to go out. They can do everything. They can try and fight. They can try and gather. They can get objectives, but they're very simple. You know, they're like 1 wound, whatever. The other thing is too, like, it's complicated coming up with a game and trying to, like, do this all, especially not having it written down in like a sheet or something. But this is why we're testing stuff out. The other thing is that so we have the unit types, but then there's unit sizes. So you could go up from, you could have a 1 crew ship, a tiny ship, or you can go to a small ship, which is 2 crew, and that's your wounds, right? And it gives you more attacks, more chances to catch fish, more chances to get scrap. We're just going to keep it simple at the moment. If we do decide, let's say, at the start of the next turn, for instance, to deploy a small ship, which would be 2 crew, and just food gathering, we're going to spend 2 food for that, and we're just going to have two of these guys next to each other. So we'll make sure we keep everybody apart. Because in reality, we're going to have different ships and stuff. I don't know how we're going to deal with the base sizes. You know what I mean? It's a lot to kind of wrap our heads around. But, all right. So this is the basic idea. We're going to play like 4 turns, okay? We spent our starting resources on each team. There's 2 food gathering units and a scrap gathering unit. It's alternate activations. We're just going to go back and forth. And I laid out the map. There's 3 objectives here, okay? Land, land, and land. And when you get closer to the objectives, let's just say, you know, maybe there's shallows, there's reefs, there's better fishing, better scrap, you know, that's been left around from the apocalypse. The other thing that's around there are these NPCs. So these are fish dudes. These fish dudes have a chance to drop fish, scrap, or loot. We're going to roll on a D6 random loot table every time we kill an NPC. So there's an NPC here, and 2 there. Okay? So there's NPCs on the map that you can kill to gain resources or loot. The other thing is they will attack you. So when you go to try and capture an objective or something, or an area where you want to get resources, if you get within a certain range, they'll attack you, right? with a melee attack. But so we have our starting units, which will gather resources and objectives and whatever. Let's just move this stuff so they're a little bit away. And the other thing is if you control an objective, if you're within, let's just say, an inch or something like that, we can do because it's a small map and nobody else is, then you'll get an added benefit to +1 to all your rolls for scrap gathering and fishing gathering. All right. So we have 2 food gathering units and a scrap on either side. The idea is, I'll give you a quick rundown on how, this is what I have for the moment for how mechanics work. To pass a test, you need to roll a 4. It's very simple. If you roll a 6, then, I haven't figured out if I want to do this for resource gathering, but if you roll a 6, then you get 2. Because it's like, woohoo! Fishing ships get +1 to their fishing roll. Scrap ships get +1 to their scrap roll. So the idea is you can go heavier in fishing if you want a heavier melee army that you're going to develop throughout the game, or you can go heavier into scrap. Now the other idea is you could just have a gathering unit and they can do scrap or fishing. I might be complicating it by adding 2 different resource gathering units, but that also allows us then to, like, if you spend your scrap, you can get ranged units. So I don't know. I still haven't figured it out, but this is where I'm at the moment. So I think the way the way you pass a skill test is just a 4, like for gathering fish or scrap. And the way to for shooting or melee, you need a 4 to hit, and a 6 counts as 2 hits. Now for defense, I haven't figured that out. Do we want to just do a 6 for defense roll? And be pretty harsh with it, but it's like, you get hit. Or do we want to do a 4 for defense roll? I'm going to lean towards a 6. This is kind of like how Gaslands does their shooting and stuff. So we're kind of borrowing from a bunch of different games to kind of create this. But so to gather your fish with a fisherman, let's say, you're going to need to roll a 3 because you get +1, right? And if you roll a 6, you get 2 fish. To spawn a single unit, let's say a fishing unit, you need 1 fish. If you want to spawn a 2-man fishing unit, you need 2 fish. The military equivalent is double. So if you want to spawn a 1-man melee unit, you need 2 fish. If you want to spawn a 2-man melee unit, you need 4 fish. You get what I'm saying? For range units or scrappers, for a 1-man scrapping ship, you need 1 scrap. For a 1-man ranged unit, which uses the scrap resource, you need 2 scrap. You get what I'm saying? And it goes up to like 4 people, like a 4-man ship or a 5-man ship. We're keeping it simple today. I think the highest we'll go is a 2-man ship or something like that. And again, the size of your ship or the crew equates how many rolls you get to make and how many essentially attacks you get to make, how many attempts at gathering stuff, for instance. So I haven't figured out if military units are allowed to gather resources. For now, I'm going to say no. We're just going to keep that simple. Okay, so the way this is going to work, I'm going to, if you want to play in chat too, you can feel free. I'll be these guys, you be that guys, but essentially I'll control both. But we're just going to go back and forth. We'll roll off to see who's going to go first. And then the way it goes is you can either move 6 inches and do an activation like fish or shoot, or you can just move 12 inches. We'll probably cut it in half. So we'll say 3 inches is like a regular advance for this board because we're so small on this table. And then we'll do, we'll just keep it 6 and 12 because I don't want to confuse things. So we're going to keep it 6 as advance, 12 as a run, essentially. I guess I haven't figured out if I want to do actions. I guess it's going to be actions, but do you get 2 actions, or is it just like you can make a fishing and a scrap roll or an attack if you just advance, right? Or if you stay still, you can. I'm thinking maybe if you advance, you can make 1 roll, whether it's attack or something. I don't know. I haven't figured it out. So let's just say you can make a ranged attack or a fishing attempt roll after advancing, or if you stayed still. Otherwise, if you run, you can't shoot or gather resources that turn. And you can run into combat 12 inches, okay? It's very confusing. I'm not going to lie. I should have this, like, on a sheet in front of me. But, okay. Let's roll, and let's see. I'm going to be the black dice. You guys are going to be the red dice, or the NPC I'll be playing against. So I'm going first. That means I'm just going to activate first, and then you guys will activate. Back and forth, back and forth. Okay. So here's the thing. You can stay where you are, or I can stay where I am and just make a fishing roll, right? Or a food roll, try and gather some resources to then spawn units at the start of the next turn. But if I move forward and try and get a objective, I'll get a +1 to my roll. So, okay, let's just keep it simple. I'm going to move with this food unit. Let's move 6 inches. Like this way. We've moved, we've stopped our ship, and we're going to throw out a fishing line. To try and gather some resources. So we're going to try and make a 4-up. But we're a fishing ship, so we get a +1. Now it's like, I don't know, maybe I think you only get the benefit if you don't move or something, but we'll see. Let's just keep it. We need a 3 to gather a fish resource. We do. So we put 1 fish resource in the bank. So I need a die, preferably maybe some D10s or something for this. Let me grab. Okay. Gathered a fish, moved up, and we activated. So let me get, let's use, I guess, a D10. Hold on, let me just get some dice here. Okay. So I'm going to use these to the 10s, or the one that's denoted by 10, 20. This will be the scrap, and this one will be the fish. And the blue will be mine, or the green will be mine, the blue will be yours. We'll keep these by the home base, because these represent the amount of resources we have. So we're going to go up to 1 fish, 0 scrap. And you guys are 0, 0. I know that's 10 technically on the dice, but you get the idea. Whatever. I guess I could just have no dice for that. All right. So I've moved forward, and I have 1 fish resource. Okay, now you guys are going to go. Let's say you're going to do this. Let's say you just do the same. Move towards the center objective, 6. And make a fishing roll with your fishing unit. But you got a 1 plus 1. No, but a 1 always fails. So unfortunately, no fish there. So let's see. I'm gonna move with this fishing. I could make a ranged attack actually. I think we're just gonna do range. Will be like 6 inches. Now let's do a melee. I'm gonna move my fishing unit and try and. It's a little risky, though. No. I'm going to move my fishing unit in position over here, knock it within an inch of the monster. This is just, again, all the distances we'll figure out. And I'm going to make a fishing roll. Gain another fish. Very nice. Go up to 2 fish for my resource gathering. And probably can't control an objective if there's monsters around it, we'll say so. All right, now you guys will go. Let's move the range unit up 6 towards this objective. And make a scrap roll. You guys are going to try and get some scrap here, because that's ranged units. And you need a 4 plus 1. Unfortunately, with a 2, it doesn't do it. You guys suck at scrap gathering. And I'll move my ranged unit up this way towards the center and try and make a scrap. As we're moving up, looking for scrap using their radar and their magnets. And with a 6, we get 2 scrap. I haven't decided if I want to do that for a resource, but yeah, let's do it. Woohoo! 2 scrap, get wrecked. This is just a test. You know what I mean? Yo, Valor Games, what's going on? We're testing out our tackling the apocalypse game. All right, and then we got another fish unit here for you guys. Let's move the fish unit up towards the center. Make another fishing roll. And a 1 plus 1. No, damn, you guys didn't get a single resource. But the good thing is, this is the end of the turn here. Units have moved up, right? They're starting to gather resources around the map via fishing and scrapping. I've gotten 2 scrap and 2 fish. You guys unfortunately failed on your rolls, so you don't have any. But at the start of each turn, you get a set amount of resources, which will just say 3 or something. Or we'll just keep it maybe simple with 2. So this is the one downside. Things are snowballing. So maybe there should be a catch-up mechanic rule that we could think about in the future. If some person really surges ahead, then maybe you get extra. Let's just try that right now. Let's say if you're over a certain amount of points than the other person at the end of the turn, like 4, then you don't get any resources. So I'm not going to get any resources, but we'll give you guys 2 fish and a scrap. We're just like, theory crafting, whatever. But ideally at the start of the turn, every player gets a resource. So maybe the person behind gets additional. So we'll say maybe I get 1 resource, you guys get 3. Let's just bump it up to 3 fish. We're just theory crafting. All right. So it's the start of turn 2. I've accrued in turn 1, moving around, and with the start of the turn, you get resources. I have 3 fish and 2 scrap. You guys have 2 fish, 1 scrap. So what you can do is now, I'm the turn first player. So what I'm going to do is, I could spend my resources, and probably what's going to happen is those units, I'm thinking they're going to spawn by your home base or where your spawn zone is. So I'm going to do this. I got a ton of resources. I'm going to try and go right off the bat and bump things up. I'm going to spend 2 of my scrap for a 2-man military ranged unit that's going to spawn by my base. And they have 6-inch range, and they get +1 to their attack roll. Okay? But they're a ranged unit. And then you know what? Let's go even crazier. I'm not going for any more gathering units. I'm going to spend 3 food and go for 3 military melee unit, or 3-man military unit. So this is a 2-man. And I think this would be ship sizes. I guess if we're doing the land-based, it will be like squads, if it's like Warcraft 3 style-ish. So this is a 3-man unit of melee, and this is a 3-man unit. Let's move them here. I'm going to put my melee guys here, and my ranged unit there. And we'll keep them in like cohesion, I guess. Now you guys, let's just say you have 2 food. Let's spend it on a 2-man military unit, and we're going to spend the 1 scrap on a 1 ranged military unit. Okay? So we've spent our resources. You've designed this yourself? Seems fishy. I did. Well, with the help of chat somewhat. But yeah, essentially, I've been playing a lot of AoE too. And that and watching... there was this AoE 2 tournament where they got a bunch of streamers from other RTS games to play Hera. And he got Grubby from Warcraft 3, and I watched some of that. And I was like, dude, we could totally take Warcraft 3 and like AoE 2 and RTS and use this as a template for our war game that we were coming up with. Okay. So we'll give you guys a rundown. We have our food gathering units, our scrap gathering units. They went out on turn 1. I ended up doing really well on my gathering rolls. So I got a bunch of food and scrap. You guys didn't get any, but you got at the start of turn 2, everybody gets free resources. The person that was ahead, this is a new rule I just came up with, but you guys got extra resources as a comeback mechanic. Because I feel like you could snowball really hard in this game, which is like any RTS game. It's super high skill level, but... So now we've spent turn 1, we've spent our points. And what you need to... Oh, I just realized. I screwed up. Every military unit costs double what the... You know what? For now, we won't do that. For now, we're just going to do it's 1-to-1. But I had the idea that a military unit, if you wanted a military unit of ranged, it would cost 2 scrap for a 1-man unit. Because it costs more resources. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple. It's a 1-to-1 equation. The only thing is, why would you have a food gathering unit? You get the bonus to gather your food. Why do you want the scrap gathering unit? You get the bonus to your scrap roll. Why do you want a military unit? You get a bonus to your attack roll. Okay, that's the idea. I kind of like the idea where it costs double, but we're not going to get into that now. So we spent our resources. You guys have a 2-man melee unit, a 1-man ranged military unit, and you still have your 2 food gathering and your scrap gathering. Now, every unit can attack. It's just the military units get bonus, okay? And obviously, the larger ship, i.e. the larger your squad size, the stronger they are, the more attacks they get, because a 3-man will get 3 attacks, and vice versa. We also have our monsters here by the objectives. If you control the objective, you get an added... I was going to say an added benefit to your roll, but I think I like the idea of you controlling an objective. At the end of the turn, or the start of the turn, you get an extra resource that you can pick. That's what I'm thinking. So let's do that. If you control an objective, you get 1 resource of your choosing at the end of the turn. If you control, you add it to your tally. If you control the middle one, you get 2 resources. There's monsters, though. Monsters are like the NPCs in Warcraft 3. You kill them, you roll on a table, a random D6 table. You get a chance to either get fish, scrap, or items. So you can get like +2 movement, +1 to your attack, or +1 to defense. For defense, it's like Gaslands. It's a 6. You got to roll. For attacks, it's like Gaslands. A 4 or unmodified 6 is 2 hits. That's the idea, okay? Start of turn 2. I'm the turn start player. I'm going to take my 3-man military ranged unit, or melee unit. I'm going to charge into this fish. Because I want to kill this fish, I want to get loot, and I want to capture the objective. So I'm going to do that. So we're going to use that fish, gets 1 die for the attack. We're going to just keep it simple. And I have 3 melee attacks. A 4 is a hit. A 6 is 2 hits. And then the way we're going to do it is you just got to make a 6 for the defense roll. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! I got 4 hits on the fish. So now the opposing player, by the way, makes the roll. So you guys would make the roll. You need 4 6s on this fish. I don't even know if we do that. Oh, you got 2 6s. Pretty good. But we do kill the fish. So the fish goes down, and we're going to roll on our random table. 1 is no loot. 2 is 1 fish. 3 is 1 scrap. 4 is +2 movement, 5 is +1 attack, and 6 is a elixir that gives you a negate 1 wound. Okay, I came up with that chart last night. We're gonna roll it. We get a 5, so we get +1 to our attack. This unit picks up a special ring or something that gives them the added benefit to their attack. And do I have something? I'll give them the guitar pick of destiny. The Dunlop Jazz 3, okay? All right, so now you guys will go. You have your 1 ranged unit here, which I think will advance up. And you guys are going to shoot that fish. Hiya! And you need a 4 to hit. A ranged unit gets +1. It does. So now the fish will make a defense roll. And it needed a 6, so no, it dies. The fish dies. You guys are going to make a loot roll. And you get a 5, which gives you the +1 to your attack. Another guitar pick of destiny. Right here. Okay. So now that unit has that thing. You guys, and then, what do you call it? Maybe after you kill a unit, you can be in objective range. I guess melee, we could give a melee consolidation. Whatever, we'll just say you guys ended up on this objective and I ended up on this objective within an inch. Okay. You probably had movement or something. Whatever, it doesn't matter. All right, so now I'll go. And don't forget, we want to gather fish and scrap to deploy units for the next turn. So let's go ahead. We have 1 objective. I'm just going to keep my fishing unit safe here. Get on the point, and we'll make a fishing roll. And with a 5, we get an extra fish resource for the start of the deployment next turn. What I think you can also do is you can also just, instead of deploying a new unit, if you have a multi-crew unit with like 3 dudes in a ship and you're on an objective, you can spend resources to replenish your ship and get reinforcements. I don't know. That seems very strong, but that might be a thing that we do in the future. Okay, so I moved up and I got an extra fish. You guys have a fishing unit. Let's just move this fishing unit towards the point here. Making room for your unit to charge, and you're going to make a fishing roll. More resources is important. You do. You get another fish. Now, the whole idea is you want to try and kill their units gathering resources, right? Just like me. So you can, like, early on. So here's the thing with an RTS, right? Early on, you can you can sit in your base in AoE or make walls. You can go to Castle Age, try and get stronger units faster than the other person. But if the other person invests in military early on or aggression early on, then you could be in the back foot. Because if I kill one of your gathering units, that's one less unit that is able to gather resources. Or if you just stay at your home base, I can go up to the objectives and I get extra resources at the start of the next turn or the end of the turn. So you are incentivized to go out and be proactive. So that's where in this game, just like an RTS, killing the villagers or whatever in AoE or the people gathering resources is sometimes stronger than taking out military units. So that's where the complexity comes in. Right now, it looks like we're just moving around gathering stuff, but in a real game, you would essentially there would be multiple play styles how you could play it because it's like an RTS game. You know what I mean? Okay. So you guys got a fish. You moved up. Yeah, you went. I went. You went. Then I went. You went. Okay. So let's go. I'm going to position myself to get on this point and make a scrap roll. See if we can get some scrap for another ranged unit. A 1? No, we don't, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and get on this point with your scrap guy. Let's see if you get some scrap. Nope, that's a 1, unfortunately. Let's see. I'm going to move my fish unit up towards here. Try and make a fish roll. With a +1 from 3, we do get an extra fish. So we're up to 2 fish. We can spawn more military units or gathering units. Because the idea is you can also spawn gathering units. You don't have to just spawn military units. Maybe you flood the board with cheap gathering units, but they all get wiped out easy. And let's go ahead and you're gonna make another fishing. You're consolidating the point here, trying to get extra units towards this. Let's take. You know what? Let's risk it. Let's take your food villager and make an attack on the monster. So let's see. We're going to... I guess the monster will attack at the same time. And no, you guys both miss or both fail. And I guess we just kind of move back or something like that would be the simplest thing. Because you can attack with your villagers and stuff, but they don't get the added benefit in combat of a +1 or something, you know? Okay, and let's move here 6 inches with our ranged unit. And they're going to try and take out that monster on our side. So it's 2 ranged attacks on 4. 6s are 2 hits. So that's 3 hits, which is crazy. So we're going to make 3 defense rolls for the monster. I don't even know if we do defense rolls, but yeah, it's taken out. Make a loot roll. Ooh, 5 is another +1 guitar pick. I'm running out of guitar picks, dude. Whatever, we'll give them this thing. They get a +1 to their attack, too. Everyone's getting the +1 loot item. And then you guys here are going to charge this fish. And make 2 melee attacks. And the fish is going to attack back, too. The fish gets a hit. You guys get 3 hits, because the exploding die. So you guys will make a save, and the fish will make saves. 6s we're looking for. No, so you guys end up losing a dude, but you kill the fish. And now you make a loot roll. And a 6 gives you a... Oh, that sucks, but it does give you an elixir to ignore 1 wound. Or maybe it'll be an elixir to restore 1 wound. That's what we'll do. An elixir to restore 1 wound, and you use it immediately to bring back your dude. Okay? Take that, fish. Now, the objective is contested here in the center by both of us. And you guys gathered 1 fish at the end of the turn, and I gathered 2 fish. I control this objective, you control that objective. So now you can pick at the end of the turn here, what do you guys want? You want a scrap or you want a fish? You have 1 fish. I'm going to get a... I'm going to get a scrap so I can get maybe another ranged unit on the board to go along with my fish resource. Let's just say you guys double up on your food here and you want a 2-man melee unit because this is a small board. Take that, fish. Hell yeah. Okay. So now is there a crazy lead because of the... No, because resources wise, I have 3, you have 2. There's no crazy lead, so we're both gonna get 2 resources, let's say. I don't know, I haven't figured out this mechanic, but we're both gonna get 1, let's say. So I'll go up to 2 scrap, and you guys will go up, let's say, to 3 fish. Now you can invest in a 3 fish melee unit. Okay. So now it's the start of the turn, and we're going to spend our resources. I'm going to deploy a 2-man ranged unit and a 2-man melee unit. Screw it, I'm going all out. And let's say you guys go for a 3-man melee. I got to get more minis. So now I have more military units. You have more military units. And, yeah, the game keeps going on here. So turn 3, we've spent our resources. You spawned a new 3-man fisherman, or a new 3-man melee war unit and used your food for it. Because, again, food is for melee, scrap is for range unit. The idea is you're digging up scrap from underneath the water, building weapons, and with the fish you're feeding your population, and people are partying, I guess, and making more babies for war. I don't know, something like that. Everything moves fast in the apocalypse. Okay, all right, so start of turn 3. This is where there's all these units on the board. Of course people can gather fish, but now we can go. I think it's really time for attack, right? Because obviously turn 1, let's just say, you can take all your units and just rush right up the board and villager fight and try and get your resource gatherers to fight their resource gatherers. But now we've gotten armies built up on both sides, as well as the villagers or whatever, the gatherers. So now we're going to fight. So let's go ahead, and I'm starting off the turn here, and what do we want to do? You can only shoot, like, I haven't figured out, but we'll just say 6 inches to keep it simple for now, because of this tiny little board. I've got my ranged gatherers. So your gatherer, too, your scrap gatherer has a ranged attack, your food gatherer has a melee attack. Let's take our food gatherer, our pig, comes around the corner and attacks your ducks, your food gatherer. Ha-ha! Eat enough food and you can do it, you can do mitosis? Exactly. So we're going to attack each other right now, our gatherers. I'm going with my gatherer into yours. I'm the black dice. We're looking for 4s. 6s are exploding, or get 2. And I do get a 4 because we're gathering units. We don't get the +1 to our attacks. So I do get a hit here. You're going to need a 6 to defend your ducks. But no, your ducks are taken out. The first casualty. Haha! And, what do you call it? Little melee consolidation on the point. All right, so now you guys are going to go. You have a melee unit here, which should be able to get around this point. You are going to expose yourself, though, to the other guy. So let's not get too crazy, maybe. I think what we do is we take your scrap gatherer and we fire at the pig. Fire at the pig! With a 4 hits. a 6 to defend the pig. Nope. And my food gatherer is taken out by your resource gatherer. And now it's my turn. I do have my 2... I have a ranged unit with the guitar pick of destiny giving +1 attack, and I have the 3-man melee unit with the +1 attack. I mean, we're keeping it simple. I'm gonna go charge, charge, and the military warship with the melee attacks comes around the corner and charges into your guys' 2-man unit. So it's gonna be a simultaneous fight. They have felt a quackening. That's right. I haven't figured it. I guess we simultaneous fight. Because that's cool. Why not? Again, this is not... We're working this out, alright? Give me some colored dice. Here we go. To differentiate here. Attack! Ooh! Only unmodified 6s are 2 hits, but that is 3 hits on my side. You did get 1 hit because you're a melee unit making a melee attack. So you do get 1 hit. So this will be your defense rolls. This will be my defense roll. 6s we're looking for. You get a 6. Oh no, I get the 6. You don't. So I saved my... Oh, wait. Yeah, because you made 1. You needed to make 3. So you lose your melee units, and I saved my dude. Sheesh. It's like I designed this game and I'm rolling really good. Who would have thought? This is just for fun. I'm showing you guys. Okay, but I did charge. Now you're going to countercharge. Huzzah! With your 3-man unit. Things are getting desperate. Gotta take the center. Fight! I will be the black die. Holy guacamole. I'm rolling hot. But you guys rolled not too shabby. So I got, because the +1, I got a hit. I mean, it would be a 3 we need to hit, but we're good. That explodes into 2. You get 2 hits. So these are my defense rolls. These are yours. Looking for 6s. Oh, you save 1, and I don't save any. Right? I don't know. Mine are the smaller ones. So I save 1. You guys, or the, whatever, don't, right? Because you needed 3 rolls. Right? Yes. And I lose 1 there. Okay. It's snowballing quick. No, Bubba 3. Whatever, you get the idea. I'm just trying to, it doesn't matter who wins here. This is just a proof of concept. So, okay. We'll move our ranged unit up 6. Or keep them out so they have line of sight. And we'll shoot this dude. You get the idea, right? A 4 with the +1 hits. Need a 6. No. So this dude gets taken out. Then we'll go here with your military unit. And move up a little. Or we'll just say, whatever, it was 12 inch, 6, whatever. You're going to shoot. +1, a 3. Oh, 2 hits. 2 saves on my part. No, my whole unit goes down from that one dude. Hell yeah. Losing the pick of destiny. And... Are you out of activations? No, you have this, this cat. Just move it, gather a fish. Gets a fish, +1 fish. You get the idea. We're kind of just going through the game turn here, but... So the idea is that, essentially, I think there's got to be comeback mechanics I'm looking at now, because, like, it snowballs pretty quick, right? Because I kind of now... I mean, that's just kind of the game. But I think the way it'll be, like, if one person has way more units or way more resources, then the person behind gets a little bonus bump, right? But that's pretty much it. You're going to go out, you're going to gather fish or scrap, and then you're going to essentially spend it at the start of the next turn. Like, for instance, I have these 2 objectives, so I'll get 2 resources for the big center one, 1 for this one at the end of the turn, so I'll get 3 resources, and... what do you call it? You guys will get 1, but let's say there's a catch-up mechanic. You guys will get a little bit extra. Start of the turn, we spawn more units, and we start moving out and fighting, you know? Obviously, this is very small. It would be on, like, a 3x3 or a 4x4 board, probably. And, again, like, I guess the way you win is either whoever... You could do it, like, if one... I think the way it probably is, because even if you lose all your units, you still get resources. So probably it would either be like your home base gets destroyed. These could be home bases, for instance, kind of like AOE. Like if your town center gets destroyed, like Warcraft. Um, or it could be an objective based thing or something. If you do control the objectives, you get points as well as the resources. I don't know, I haven't figured it out, but that's kind of the idea, right? This is like the basic outline or the basic idea of the game. I think there's a lot of like details and stuff I need to figure out and like finalize, but that's like the proof of concept, kind of like, is like you're moving out with food or scrapping units, and they can capture points, they can fight, they can kill monsters, but they're not as good as it. What they're good at is getting your resources. Then at the start of the turn, you spend your resources either on more gathering or more military units. Um, and I think that was pretty strong. I think I do kind of like the idea where military units cost more than food units, or than more than gathering. But like I had the idea of where, like, to spawn a one man melee unit, it would cost 2 food, but a one man fisherman, just gathering unit, costs 1 food. You get what I'm saying? Gives a new idea to fishing for sixes. Oh, fishing for sixes. Exactly. Hell yeah. I think we got to work on the mechanics, but I think it's like pretty. I think it's the way it's like bare bones and stuff, but I think it's enough. Yeah, need to nail the core gameplay, and then we can add the wacky flavor. Yeah. So I just got to figure out. I think it's gonna be like, I'm probably gonna have to play test with Rev as well as you guys. We could do it on stream, um, and see like what we like, what I don't like. I'm also gonna have to just like, I'll probably do it myself. Just solo play test, and obviously we don't need to worry about balance and stuff like that at the moment. We just need to worry about like the core gameplay mechanics of everything. Yeah, the loop's very important. I think though, from just doing this, I like the idea of the versatility of your game plan. Are you going to stay safe and stay on your side of the map and gather resources and just guarantee pretty much yourself? Maybe if you stay still, you get an extra benefit to your fishing or scrap, right, or something. I don't know, whatever. If you play it safe, you're guaranteed you're going to be getting some resources every turn, so you can spawn some units. It's a safe safe strategy. The risky strategy would be to send your units, all like your starting units, out to objectives at the start of the game, fight monsters, make fishing rolls, try and gather as much resources and and control the points, so you get a bonus or a lead in resources, and you can start trying to snowball early on. So it's like, it's tricky because it's like, it's definitely going to be tough. I need to figure out how to make it to where, because I could see it to where like if somebody starts like winning, they can start winning like crazy, which is generally how these games go. Like, skill levels in RTSs are really high. So if I play AOE against somebody that's got a little bit higher elo than me by a couple hundred, like, they're infinitely almost better than me. Because it takes a lot of, it's hard to go move up on like rank in a lot of these games. It's like you reach a certain point and the skill level gets so high where like the action the clicks per second or clicks per minute, and the how well you can manage the micro and macro aspects of an RTS, that's where it's like, you start seeing the difference in like how good somebody is. But so I need to make sure that it's still like a fun game and not like too swingy, I guess, or something. I don't know. But I mean, just from this little test, I kind of like it, because I don't know what the new StarCraft game is like. It might be something like this, honestly, but I haven't even checked it out. But I like the concept. Maybe the higher the population, the more dangerous the fish. Well, so there's other aspects, right? This is like the most stripped down version of the game. There's way deeper stuff, and this could be advanced rules to where I could like We could have the core game be free, and then I'll do the one-page rules thing where if you want the advanced rules, you can spend like $5 or something. Because one day I need to fix my boat so I can go fishing again. But what do you call it? I'll show you real quick. I have so much stuff, so like there could be 3 zones of fishing. The shallow waters, closer to your starting zone, uh, is the least profitable fishing and scrapping you can do, right? It's not that good. Inshore is like medium depth, or maybe we'll just get rid of inshore. It's like we could just do shallows and offshore. So like offshore, when you're further away from your starting area, it's deeper water. It's more dangerous because it's rougher waters and there's bigger fish and monsters, but you get a better chance of getting stuff. So it's like, do we want to add like like a capsize mechanic for like little boats going into deep water? It's risky because you can get a ton of resources, but you can also get attacked by a kraken or an octopus or something. You know what I mean? So there's like all sorts of how deep do I want to go with the mechanics, right? But you know, I have most of it kind of laid out. It's fairly simple. We're probably gonna go over all this stuff here. I mean, honestly, that went pretty quick. That little test. Um, Kind of theory crafting, like activations and stuff, attacks, defense. Um, at first, I was gonna say I didn't have the scrapping and the fishing mechanic or the resource thing figured out as much, and I was just gonna have like there'd be like jet skis and kayaks, but I kind of like the idea of it being open to where this is for the modeler. It's like Turnip 28, miniature agnostic. Use whatever you want, be as creative as you want. It's just like one dude or 2 dudes or 3 dudes or one, like a small ship, slightly larger, you know, medium ship, large, or boat, and it just represents the amount of attacks and wounds you have or something. So I didn't know if I was going to have like specific units, but I kind of like where it's a broad thing. It's a 1-man small boat. It's a 2-man slightly larger boat. And whether you want it to be a fishing boat, a scrapping boat, or military boat, that's how you pick and choose the units you want. This is the size. You know what I mean? And that way, like whether it's a jet ski or a canoe or a kayak or a dude in a with floaty arms and tubes and he's in the water with a little fishing rod, like you can build it however you want. It's up to you to add the flavor, like Turnip 28, you know what I mean? Or something like that, or like one-page rules. This is kind of like the generic outline. So you can always add, for instance, too, later on, factions, flavors, and stuff where they get special things and units or whatever, and vice versa. Kind of like AoE 2 with AoE 2, or like Warcraft 3 or something. Each faction has certain units, but like in AoE, every nation has a unique unit. So the Magyars have the Magyar Hussar, which spawn, and it all spawns out of their castles in AoE, which you need to get to the castle age to make a castle to get your unique unit. But the Magyar Hussar is like really good at raiding villagers and stuff. But maybe the Spanish have conquistadors, which ride on horseback and shoot guns, which is a ranged cavalry unit. So they all have custom stuff. So it's like how we could go in depth like that, you know. I also had different weapons. Like I didn't know which direction I was going. Is it like Gaslands where you like where you buy a small boat and you equip it with a machine gun? But as I was going, I was like, okay, well, if it's going to be an RTS and we have resources and you're spending it along the way, I don't want the start of turn 1 to be 15 minutes on each player. Well, let me get a machine gun for 2 points and this for 1 point, and I want a ranged 2-man ship. We could maybe do that. That could be an option where there's like, instead of like it being an SMG and a machine gun, you can buy something for 1 scrap to give your guys added range or an extra attack. But yeah, it's like, you know, upgrades and stuff. So I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think, is there any other stuff that I was thinking about? You can shoot. I don't know if we're gonna have a fight mechanic because I think it's just gonna be like charge, but 6 is 2 fish, so he did say that. Alright, these are all ideas. So like you start the game with like, let's say 3 resources. It's up to you whether you want 3 food guys, 3 scrap guys, or do you want 2 scrap guys and a food guy, 2 scrap guys and a food whatever it is. Because the more of that resource that you're gonna you're planning at the start of the game, I want more of a melee unit, melee army. I'm going all food, right? Um Maybe you have to have 1 scrap. I don't know. Because what if you? I guess you could just decide I'm only doing melee, then you lose the versatility. I guess that's on you for picking your starting team. It's whether you're going to lose the opportunity to have any ranged units throughout the thing. So maybe you can convert a fish to a scrap. Maybe 2 fish equals 1 scrap. I don't know. We could always figure it out. Potentially naming it Deadliest Catch Mode for all out rules. Yeah, there you go. I figured there was a pirate ship scenario. Call the melee unit the Buccaneers. Ooh, okay. Yeah, because there's no do we want to have an archery unit and a spearman unit or a skirmisher, like an AoE? Or am I just keeping it simple? Like ranged unit, military unit. You have a trade post. Yeah. Trade post, so you can. A theoretical trade post, right? You can convert. You can. You can convert or sell resources to buy other. Yeah. I like that. Where's my resources? Trade post / market. Can trade, I guess we'll say. So it'd be like 2 fish, or it's a 2 for 1 trade, I guess. So 2 fish equals 1 scrap, because you gotta lose. You can't it can't be 1-to-1. It has to be like you're losing resources because you went greedy, went all melee at the start of the game, but now you're like, fuck, I need some range units, dude. So, okay. And there's an opportunity to have so there's one thing in these RTS games. There's certain units counter other units, right? Which is interesting. That's something to think about. There could be like an archer, like the archers shoot bows, so they have like a little bit better range, right? And they're good at killing like melee units. But what they did over time, they developed skirmishers to harass the archers with javelins, and they have shields and stuff. So the skirmishers, they're like running around and on the battlefield, they're trying to take out archers. So the archer's weakness is a skirmisher. But like the skirmishers, get taken out easily by horsemen and vice versa. So there's like all sorts of units that counter other units. Right now it's just a melee unit. Right now it's just a range unit. But there is the option to have 2 melee units, 2 types of range units, and one counters the other. One is good at one thing. One's a little bit better at one thing. One's a little bit worse at the other. Vice versa. So I don't know. That's something to think about as well. You know what I mean? Because that's where you get the super complexity from an RTS, is knowing countering units for certain units and stuff like that. You need a unit in there to trade, but if you fight outside the post, you get attacked in turn by the post. Interesting. Yeah, or maybe you need to take the resource back to trade it somewhere, back to your home base or something. Or the trading posts are on the map somewhere that you need to visit. Yeah, probably would need to bring it there. the Buccaneers for melee, and the Corsairs for range. Well, the thing is, we also need to. It also needs to be like this is going to be a silly, wacky game, in like Turnip is, I think, because people are going to be making their own fishing ships out of like little matchsticks and like making dudes. Like I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm going to encourage scratch building, kit bashing, 3D printing, using miniatures you already have, doing whatever, because we can have an on land version. Probably the on land version's the most versatile for what everybody already has instead of making fishing ships and stuff. But use whatever you want, do whatever you want, use paper, use whatever, you know. Um, but the theming of everything, I want it to be like wacky, and it needs to have inspiration from real world fishing lingo and stuff. So, like, I don't know what it would. The Fishers and the Bashers or something, or what would the military units be called? I don't know. I have to figure it out. Oh, I'm 100%. We're gonna be doing that. We're gonna be making ships and making dudes. Um, I haven't figured out the scale for like. Is it gonna be like? Part of me wants to have little ships, and the ships get bigger. But the easiest thing to do would be every ship is on a 25 millimeter base or whatever, right? Like a warlord size base or 28, whatever you do. Whatever base sizes, you can use whatever base size you want. But the size of the ships is just you add more ships. So it's like a 5 ship crew, But the other way would be have actual ships, and it goes from small ships to larger to some. And we need to figure out the base size restrictions for each ship as it gets larger. And it's like 25, and these are round, so it's like for like a 20. I want it to be like 28 millimeter scale. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's going to be 28 millimeter. But this is when I wanted to talk to you guys. Would it be better to be like a 12 millimeter, or something like that? Because I feel like you could find ships and things like that. But part of me wants to have it be like 28 mil. That way you can like build ships and have guys or something. Yeah, unless you do a grid. I don't know if I'm a fan of the grid, because if you do a grid, you could do D&D style, where one grid is one ship, two grids is the ship takes up 2 grids. You know what I mean? So that I need to figure out how I'm gonna deal with the basing size for it. Epic scale very well. What do you mean, like Oh, you don't know the epic scale? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not too familiar with smaller stuff either. And personally, I have a hard time like painting like 12 mil stuff. Seems like it's harder for me with my eyes and stuff. So I kind of like the 28 mil. Plus, like you could just use miniatures you already have, and make a little ship for them. Maybe the ship. Maybe it's just base sizes of your miniatures, and you make a little ship for them or something, I don't know. I still need to figure out how I'm gonna do it. But I'm thinking 28 millimeter scale. I just don't know. Don't like go crazy. Well, I'm not gonna say no. Make stuff, because who cares? It's gonna be this sort of game. It's very like a base size is a recommendation sort of thing, right? If we decide it could be a competitive game one day, then we can have the competitive rule set and everything. But it's like, how in one-page rules, they say the base sizes are recommendations. They have a base size, but they don't want you to rip your beautiful Space Marines, your old firstborn Space Marines off their bases just because you have to be 100% accurate to what one-page rules recommends. They say just, it's kind of like a casual game. You know what I mean? It's a game between friends. So, I don't know. I think we're gonna have base size like recommendations, but it can be open to interpretation within reason. You know what I mean? As long as the person on the other side of the table agrees, then cool. But I think it's gonna be 20 millimeter scale. So, I don't know. I need to figure out though what I'm gonna do for ship sizes, because it's easy to have a unit of just 2 man like this, 25 mil base. That's your 2 man unit, and that's what it takes. They have to be within an inch of each other. Bada bing, bada boom. That's easy, right? But when you scale up from a a little guy to then like a 40 mil base or something, like yeah, this dude, he's got a 40 mil. So this would be a small ship, and this would be a medium ship. We could do it like that. I just need to figure out how you do it. Do we stick with round bases? And you make your little ship on the round base. I kind of, you know what? It's probably not a bad idea, honestly. We could have oval bases too, but you have your 25 mil or whatever this is, the Warlord one, right? And you can make a little kayak, you can make a little thing. It could stick off of it and whatever, but your base is what you're going off of. So we could do it like that. Or it could be an oval base, right? Which could be a little bit more probably visually appealing and stuff for a ship. But like, it's not, nobody says your ship has to be like a traditional ship. You could be on a cardboard box floating for all like you could do whatever you want. So, or you could just use whatever minis you have, and a lot of, like, I don't have a lot of oval base minis. I have mostly round base minis in all of my collections. So it'll probably be like you can use round base or an oval base. And if we just keep the base size for a certain ship, then you can just build whatever you want, like the easiest thing to do, I think, for everybody just to get into the game would just be everything's like one size or like this, and you just add another unit, and that's now a 2-man fishing ship, right? Or a 2-man, if we did it on a 2-man fishing crew or a 2-man wood chopping crew or whatever, if you did it on land. You get what I'm saying? That's the easiest for everyone to get involved. But if we wanted to do it to where you gotta, like, you make your own stuff for the game, right? And you're gonna make miniatures, you're gonna buy miniatures, you're gonna kit bash, then it would be like, I think the best thing to do for that would be a small ship is on a small base, medium ships on a larger base, a large ship is on a big base, vice versa. And then whatever you put on the base, it doesn't matter. It's just the base is what you're going off of. So that's probably the way we should go. But I guess we could always have we could have it in there if you want to use, if you don't have boats and you don't have this and you just want to play the game, just use one size base like the 25 mil and just use multiple of them. We could do it like that too. Right? But I guess really if I'm making a game and everything, I should have it to where a small ship's on a small base, large ship is on a large base, vice versa. I think that'll just look cooler too, because you got like a big boat versus a small boat and vice versa. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. So I'm thinking 28 millimeter scale, and whatever the normal equivalent base sizing for a 28 millimeter would be like, oval wise. I don't necessarily know. I'm not as familiar with oval. Yeah, there's less ambiguity that way. Yeah, exactly. So that's probably the best way to do it. And there could be a round base or an oval base. You know what I mean? Because, there's I guess the small ones will all be the round, right? And then once you get into medium, you can get into the oval bases that get larger. And you can have a round or an oval. Just to give people the option, the versatility, right? Because I don't want it to be like, like I said, I don't have a ton of oval-based miniatures in general. So I want people to be, I do want this to be a game that it's like, it's going to be on like a page or two, and it's going to be free rules, and anyone can play it. So I want it to be easy to get into, like one-page rules. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be super complicated and hard to understand the rules. I want it to, you give it to your friend who has very little wargaming experience, and they're a pretty intelligent person. They can comprehend it in a game or two and have a pretty good understanding of how the game works. So that's the idea behind it, right? It needs to be easy to get into and overall fun, right? But okay, interesting. But that's kind of where we're at. I think we can start maybe just, I guess, keep going over the game and talking about what we could do. I guess maybe start figuring out base sizes. I have a lot of stuff figured out, but I guess trying to figure out some other stuff. So, because I want to get to the point to where I can like test this thing out and start playing games, because I feel like it's gonna take me probably like a year of like play testing, working on the game, this and that, and I want to come up with like visuals for it. I have a friend who's our buddy James, who's an artist. I want to see if maybe he could do some art, because he's done some sick art for what was it, Wrath and Glory, the Warhammer TTRPG. I DM'd a campaign, and he had a Adeptus Mechan. No, he had a like a priest, like a Ministorum priest, who ended up finding a frog, and it was like one of the Saurian frog gods that was like chilling as a regular frog, but it was like one of the Saurian, or one of the lizard men from Warhammer. So he got like a lizard man god as a pet, and we called him Little, was it Little P or something? And it was like a little frog with a hat. So he drew the art for it. I think I have it. I could show you guys. It looks so good. I was like, dude, I have to have James do something for me one day if we ever... Let me take a look. Oh, here it is. Yeah, yeah. Check this out. This is what he did for the... How good is that, dude? Little E, that's what it was. Little E as the Little Emperor. That's what it was. He was like... He named him the Emperor of the God of Man... God of Man. And it was so sacrilegious. He had the Little Emperor, and it was a frog, one of the frog people gods. You know how there were like the frog gods in 40K super long time ago, before the I think they created the Aldari or some shit, didn't they? Or there was like the frog, there's some Warhammer lore is crazy, but there's like frog gods that like they created the Eldar to fight against gods or something. I don't know, some crazy shit. That's where this whole inspiration came from. But how sick is that? So I need to like raise some money to have him do artwork for the game. You know what I mean? But so we have our artists. I'll tell you that much. And I don't need anything crazy. Just a couple cool little things. You know what I mean? Yeah, the old ones. Yeah, the old ones. That's what it was. So, like, it's gonna take time. I want to do art. I want to have a PDF. I want it to be laid out, spell checked, everything. It's going to take a little while to do this, but that means is that I want to make sure that I put a lot of intention into this, and play it, test it, whatever. You guys could play it and test it and let me know or whatever. So this is what I've been working on in the background. So I'm gonna keep going, because I still have to edit videos. We have projects coming up. We're working on miniature games and stuff, this and that. And I'm working fly tying. But every night I work on this for about like 30 minutes to an hour. And this is where we've gotten to this point. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I want to grab another cup of tea here, or a drink. And what do you call it? I think either we'll just like keep theory crafting in the notebook, or maybe should we like play another game or something and see how it goes? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But what do you call it? I also don't have any music going. Let's get some music going. My beautiful AoE 2 music. We're gonna stream some more here though. We're just getting started. So, yo, Damn Legion, what's going on, dude? How you doing, man? Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Makes me wonder if one-page rules would allow you to partner for distribution. One-page rules is super open, but I don't know. They don't. It would be like it would go on like Drive Through RPG or something, or like if we had like a Patreon or something. I don't know, something like that. You know what I mean? It would be like, because they don't really distribute necessarily. Well, I guess nowadays they might have a real book, but I think it's all like online on their website, on their Patreon, or like Drive Through RPG. You can buy their the full rules. Otherwise, it's just free. So Probably I would need. Oh, I guess I would need to find like I need to have like a website or something. I could just make a Google Drive doc, you know, for people. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Well, look, we're just getting started. I don't think I'm gonna have a physical publication of tackling the apocalypse for a while or something. But we'll make a PDF once I have the game, and then we'll have a way for people to download it. But if we ever have like an advanced rules where like people can pay to get you know, the advanced rule set, kind of like One Page Rules does, if they want to support the game, because it's all free, then they can get it on Drive-Thru RPG or somewhere, you know, where I buy a lot of like rule books or something, somewhere that's like an easy, you know, the most sensible way to sell a rule set for a game, probably like that, you know. But again, I want it to be free, so the basic game and the mechanics and everything it'll be like a 1 or 2 page like PDF or like couple pages, and you know, just free for everybody. That's the idea. So, but the idea is, you know, maybe I can get into Blender, or I can have some of my friends who do art stuff design some miniatures or something, and we can sell those on my mini factory. There's ways, because look, I do YouTube and I hand tie fishing flies for a living, so I got to do whatever I can to make money. But that being said, I'm not gonna, like, I don't want to charge money for the base game, you know. I want it to be like a free game and everything. So, but if I could find a way to make a little extra money from like selling STLs or advanced rules and stuff like that, I need every way I can. So, but that's just, you know, when you're doing stuff like this, like you know, that's how it is. You got to be entrepreneurial and multifaceted in the workforce nowadays. So, but all right, we're gonna take a quick little break. Let me grab another cup of tea, and we'll keep chit-chatting about this game, and I don't know, either maybe try some scenario, like try and like what's like if we do this, or what if you get the fish, or like a comeback mechanic. We'll figure it out. But I appreciate you folks hanging out. I'm excited for this, dude. I'm telling you what. Right now, I'm kind of all over the place. But I think if I can get this game to be simple, but fun, and I think it's like, I haven't played the StarCraft game, but I have never played a tabletop wargaming like this where you're accruing the resources and spending it mid-game. Everything's like before an army, or you build your army and then you deploy it all, or like half deploys and another half comes later. I personally haven't played there probably is games like this, tabletop games, like war games, but this is like got a completely different feel to anything I've ever played when it comes to thinking about what resources you want. Do you want to attack? Do you want to gather? Do you want to capture? How are you going to play the game? So I think that's interesting. I really do. And I think it's something worth exploring and investing my time in, because I'm not familiar with anything like it. So, again, I haven't checked out the StarCraft game. I'm assuming the StarCraft game is heavily inspired by their RTS. So I think there's like a home base, and you build your barracks and stuff to make your units. We're not going to go that in depth, but it might be somewhat similar for all I know. But anyways, that's where we're at, and I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty pumped about it, chat. So, it seems similar to Settlers of Catan, or so are you talking about the Catan board game? Is that what you're talking about? Where you get like wood and you get food and stuff like that? Yeah. I've never played that, but I know Rev loves it. He's super big on that game. So, okay. So I don't know if there is a tabletop war game then that is like this. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty interesting, because it's like a miniature war game. It's not like a board game where you have cards and you got little things you're moving around, and it's like, you know, you're playing a board game. This is like a proper tabletop war game, but with the resource management, you know, and gathering. That's pretty interesting. I like the idea of it. So, okay, I'm gonna shut up. Let me go grab a drink real quick and stretch my back out. And we'll keep chatting here for a little bit. After the stream, I got to get back. We're working on the Apocalypse. 3,000 point conflict game. I'm about halfway through turn 3. I think the video's like 40 minutes long in turn 3 or something. It's going to be like an hour and 20-minute long edited battle report, dude. I'm not even joking. It's 2 full armies on each side fighting for 6 turns. So it's, yeah, that's a and it's freaking Toten hordes. So you know there's some it's not easy killing those fuckers. So, but anyways, I got to get back to editing that as usual. So I've been staying on top of it, though. It's taking a long time, though. It's going to be... I hope people enjoy that game, because that's going to be like 2 weeks of editing. But, all right, chat. So we're going to take a quick little break. I'll be back in a moment, and we'll keep tackling the apocalypse. Appreciate it, chat. All right. We're back. So, let's see if I can, like... I need to lay out the basics of the game in a much cleaner way. Tackling the apocalypse. sheet. Okay. I need to figure out, because I'm all over the place, I need to like lay it out a little bit easier for me to understand here. That's so fucking annoying. Like, I want to switch it to 28, and I need to click the same exact spot, otherwise it goes back to the wrong. Okay. So let's see. It is how do you start out a freaking war game for a sheet? Or not even. I just want to lay out the basic mechanics so it's separated from the other stuff. So let me go here. We're gonna have scrap. There's the resources, so we should talk about the resources. Scrap. These are our resources. Let's copy this. I want to lay everything out. Resources. 3 main resources. Scrap. We'll move fish. All right. Fish, scrap, and loot are our main resources here. Okay, so we have our resources. A side note for the trade market. Okay, so these are the main resources for our game: fish, scrap, and loot. Fish is the main resource for fishing and melee units, and scrap main resource for scrapping and range units. Loot essentially is special items that can give a bonus or resources, and random D6 table. Okay. And I think I even have the table. Set up, so that's good. Our random D6 table here. Let's do restore 1 wound. 1 crew for a 6. Okay. So, these are our resources. Which we have 3 types of resources. We have, for the loot, we have our D6 table. And here's the explain that you can trade. Okay. So that's resources. We should go over the activations. For activations or for actions, right? There's certain types of actions you could take. And I think it's going to be these. There's 3 types of actions. We could always add more. But we have, you can fish or scrap, right? Is 1 action you can take, where with a fishing unit you could fish. Scrap, you can scrap. And a 1 or a 4 plus equals gathering 1 of the resource. A 6 up or unmodified 6 equals 2 of the resource. I also was originally thinking making it like mortars and bolt action, where the fishing gets easier the more you attempt it and not move, but I don't know if I want to go with that, so. And there are 4 things you can do. You can fish or scrap. You can shoot. You can advance. Or you can go full throttle. Full throttle allows you to run and charge. Advance allows you to shoot or fish. So shoot or gather. I guess we should call it gather, maybe as the name potentially, or something like that. Can shoot or gather after advancing. And here we'll just say can't shoot or gather after running. Full throttle, that is. Because we got to have a cool name for it. Instead of advance, we call it cruise. Instead of run, we call it full throttle. You know what I mean? That's the idea. I'm trying to get everything somewhat organized for myself. Ideally, I'd make this into a sheet. You know what I mean? Like a PDF or something, but this is kind of just easy for me. So we have our we have our resources. We have our actions. Should we have shoot or fight? I guess maybe just so you can understand. Because in shooting, 4s to hit. Unmodified 6s are 2. Same thing with fighting. Yeah, I think that works. We'll figure it out. Like, because can you ever fight as a fight action? If you always have to go into melee and then you back off. We'll have to figure out how we word it, or how we decide that. You know what I mean? This is all extra rules stuff, I think. Is like, deep water can be dangerous for small boats. Shallow water is hard for larger boats. I don't know if I'm not gonna worry about all that now. Do I need this? This is just me explaining that for every crew member you have, you can get make one of the action roles that you're trying. So like a 3-man fishing vessel can advance, make a fishing roll, and it's going to make 3 fishing rolls. If it makes an attack roll, it's going to make 3 because it's 3 guys on the ship. That's kind of the idea. Just throwing it out there. If you're behind, you can call a tall tale, aka like I got the fish, this big treat. Oh, you can lie about the fish size or something. AKA, like, I got a fish, this big treat, the next fish as doubled size. Yeah, there needs to be a comeback mechanic. There definitely needs to be. Otherwise, it'll snowball. Let's call it, I love the idea of the tall tale. I do love that idea. That's fantastic. I don't know how we're going to do it, though. We'll have to figure out the... one player is ahead on resources and or units. We got to be careful. What if everyone saves their points and then deploys like crazy shit? Because you can. Well, I guess if you're... It's the resources. So if one player's ahead on resources is what it is. I think we should do it. Maybe and or units. Then you get, the player behind gets bonus resources at the start of the next turn. It's not going to put you... You never get more... never get more. Probably need to limit to have... probably need to have a limit for turn 4. Or maybe you have to... maybe you can only accrue so many resources. It could be, or something like that. Yeah. This will be like where we need to play the game, me and Rev will break the shit out of it, and then we'll need to balance things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure some of you folks will figure out some crazy ways of, like, breaking the balance of the game when it comes to how the resources are spent and trying to abuse comeback mechanics and stuff. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But that's just a basic idea. It's an alternate activations game. That's at the tippy top probably of this we want to describe. This will be at the tippy top, eh? I guess alternate activation, RTS inspired fishing based game or something. Okay, alternate activation RTS inspired fishing / scrapping war game. This is just like a basic description of the game, you know what I mean? You can have a storage to the limit of the amount of food and like scrap you can keep. Yeah, I do like that. There probably should be something. Like the scrap starts going missing and the food starts rotting because people are stealing the scrap and the food's like going bad or something. Yeah, that might be important, honestly. We're gonna need to figure that out later with balancing. Okay, movement. We know the movement because those are actions. Yep, teams of fishers. Okay, I don't want to just turn this into the same exact page I have. I want to keep it clean. So let me not bring everything over. Oh, we need NPCs. I was thinking about having different NPCs where there could be like bots that you can kill for scrap. And like fish monsters you can kill for food, and then other monsters you can have, but we'll just make monsters as NPCs, or just NPCs as general. I think that's what we should do. Loot, hidden treasures from the past, dropped, or whenever you kill, or when destroy an NPC unit, you get to roll on the loot table. Yeah. Okay. So there are NPCs. We'll put that here. It's like a little descriptor term. Okay. So how's this laid out? We have actions, resources. I need a way to describe the... I need a chart for like resources, or a thing to tell you exactly how much. So resources, fish. Well, I guess I could put that on the units, eh? That should be for units. So let's do units. because we have... Yeah, okay, unit types. Fishers. Scrappers. Military. And we'll do melee military or range military. Is that not how you spell it? Is melee with two? Ah, two E's after. So fishers can gather fish only, is what I'm thinking. Get +1 to fish rolls. Gathering fish rolls. Or gathering... That's why I kind of think instead of gathering, there should be fishing and scrapping as two separate activation types. I don't know, part of me thinks like maybe you just have, instead of fishers and scrappers, you have just basic gatherers and they can, but I kind of like having the, where you have to choose which ones you want. So scrappers can gather scrap only, get +1 to scrapping. Oh my god. I'm like sitting in a weird angle near the keyboard. And I think every unit can fight, by the way. So, can make melee attacks. Fishers can make melee attacks, and the scrappers can make ranged attacks. Now we got to figure out range. I think it's just like maybe 6 inches. Or is it 12? Shoot. Shooting range. Let's just put 12 inches for now. I don't know, maybe we want 6 inches. But we'll just leave it like that. Because it's like, if you make it 6 as melee, just way better than shooting, you know? So we have fishers, scrappers, melee military, and range military. And these guys get bonuses to their +1 to ranged attacks. Because even a ranged boat can make a melee attack. Within 6 inch, +1 to hit. I kind of like that. Let's write it down. I don't know if we'll keep it. Kind of like it, because remember, to shoot, for shooting or attacking, you need a 4 to hit, so it's like, I guess you can get your bonuses up pretty good. And melee military is +1 to melee attacks. Okay, so why would you take a... Why wouldn't you just use all fishers and gatherers, or fishers and scrappers, and have a... Well, you could have all 2-man fishing units on your as your army, I guess, if you wanted to. But... And you can gather a bunch of resources and keep spawning more of them, but they're not as good as at combat. So a military unit gets +1 to its attack, and if they're with... There should be a bonus for melee, too. Like... If you're within 6 inches of your charge, you get +1 to hit as well. Or something. You know what I mean? There should be a benefit to melee. So the reason why you want to accrue resources and spend them on military units is they're way more effective at fighting and shooting. There needs to be a significant bonus. Otherwise, you could just use whatever. If you charge within 6 +1, yeah, that's what I ended up going for. Which is kind of like how One Page Rules has some rules like that where they call heavy charges and stuff. Similar-esque sort of thing. So, because the idea is maybe a 12-inch charge is a pretty long charge. Like, you're going to be winded, but if you're within 6 inches, you're going to have more energy, we'll say, or something, to fight. I don't know, something. Mind you, we're in boats, but you get the idea. Okay. And instead of charging, we can call it ramming. We should call it ramming. We should call it full throttle / ram speed. Or / ram is the actual name of the activation. Okay. So there's a reason why... There's a reason to gathering units. There's a reason and there's motivation to go with military units. Military units are significantly better at taking out your enemies' units, as well as taking out monsters for loot. And the idea is it's probably going to be like, there'll be like multiple monsters. There'll be like a small one and then maybe a couple small ones and a large one will be the way it'll be eventually. But so what I'm gathering here is we're getting a 2-up if we're within 6 with the right units. I think so. That's why it's a little tricky. 4s to hit's a little tricky. We could always just make it 6 to hit or something, right? In general. But I guess, for instance, if you have a melee unit, right? That is, let's just go here. If you have a melee unit that is fighting a scrapping unit, let's just say. A non-military unit. So you have a military melee unit versus a scrapping gathering unit, let's just say. This guy's within 6 inches for a charge, right? So he needs a 4 to hit normally in melee. But he's a military unit, so he gets +1. And because he's within 6, he gets additional +1. He's going to be hitting on 2s. Which is pretty brutal. But I guess that is a reason to go with a military unit, right? Is that they get these bonuses and stuff. So I guess we could always, maybe 4... This will be a playtesting. I'm going to leave it the way it is, right? It's super, super, like, deadly. But you're going to be, like, replenishing units as well, like crazy, right, is the idea. So I don't know, maybe 6 for defense? I don't know. I'll have to playtest it. This is where I'll have to playtest and see. Maybe it's better to make... To succeed on a attack, you need a 6 in general, or anything. And then you get your bonus, if we're going to be adding multiple modifiers. I don't know. Test first, fix action. Exactly. These are, you need something to go off of, right? You need some sort of thing, you know? I will put down... Might be better to have 6 as a baseline for tests / attacks with all with heavy modifiers. Okay. Something to note. You know what I mean? Okay. So these are the unit types and then unit sizes. Tiny crew is 1. We have a small crew. And then we'll have a table with like, maybe we need like a conversion rate for the military. And so this is what I think. Okay. This is a good point. Maybe we leave it. Yes. Okay. It's very It's very strong. A military unit can hit on 2s on a charge or shooting within 6 inches. Crazy, right? But if we keep it to where my original idea with a military unit costs costs twice as much resource. So a one-man melee unit instead of so there's a one-man food gathering unit costs 1 food. A one-man melee military unit costs 2 food. So it's twice the investment. So if you want a 3-man ship, which would be a medium ship, it costs 6 food for a military melee unit, or 6 scrap for a medium ranged military unit. So that would make the investment super like, yeah, you could fight, you can get way more units of you could have tons of gathering units, and they can fight, they can control objectives, but they're hitting on 4s. And what do you call it? If you want the double investment, you're gonna like be hitting on 2s or something with your military units. So I don't know. We'll have to see and test it out. But that's the idea, is that I think if we double the cost for military units of the appropriate resource that it costs for them, that they require, that will make it better. The way we play tested it just now before is where a military unit only costs 1 of its equivalent resource. But I like it to where it's double, because then you need to, the idea is you're going to have like 5, I think you start out maybe with 5 or 6 gatherers of whatever types you want. It could be a 5-man food ship or something, or it could be 5 food ships and 1 scrap, whatever, right? So you can like do it however you want. So there's, I think, you know, I don't know. I think you're going to be gathering a fair bit amount of resources. I don't know. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm going to have to figure out. I'm going to have to play test it. So small crew will be 2. Or these are like wounds. The crews are like wounds, essentially, if you figure. Medium is 3. And then we'll do large for 4. And let's do massive ship is 5. Because I do want this. This is going to be like a 4x4 board game or so. We played it on a tiny little thing, but you're going to have like armies at some point. You're going to have an army on the board. You're going to start out small, but the army's going to build up. You know what I mean? It'll probably be like 5 turns or something. Maybe 6. Who knows? I don't know. Because you're going to need a good amount of turns, right? I guess it depends on how many activations and whatnot, but... Okay. I want a... ...2x food, or how can I need like to make a chart or something. Resource... Conversion. Oh, I can't even spell. Conversion. Oh yeah, I definitely didn't spell that right. There's a C up there. So 1 to 1. 1-to-1 ratio for gathering units. And 2x for military. 2x cost. So essentially for a gatherer unit, a 2-man fishing ship to gather is 2 food. For a 2-man melee unit, which melee costs food, range costs scrap. For a 2-man melee military unit, it'll cost 4 food. And I think that probably balances things. That will make things... That'll give you a reason to invest your resources for the high bonus. And again, I don't know if we're going to settle on you're hitting on 2s. Maybe it'll be you're hitting on 4s. Because if we make 6 to hit. or 6 to gather fish or something, whatever. You know what I mean? We might adjust the starting or the baseline for tests, because we'll have to see how we want to do it. Maybe a 5 or something. So you're hitting on 3s with your close range and your military unit. I don't know. We'll need to figure it out for sure. So let me see what else. I mean, that's pretty much. We got our ship sizes, and you get to pick the flavor of the ship. It's like, you know, it's like an ice cream cone, and whatever sort of ice cream you want in there, these are the ice cream cones, or the toppings on like a hot dog. Do large crews cost more? Well, I think it scales, right? Like a 4-man crew is harder. You get more fishing rolls or scrap rolls if it's a fishing or scrap ship. And if it's a 4-man military ship, you're going to make 4 attacks, which is really good in 1 unit. Because you figure out, you got to think about a 4-man fighting a 2-man is double the amount of attacks, double the chances to get 6s and all that for the exploding die. But a 4-man ship costs 4 resources for a gather, or 8 resources for a military ship, right? So it's a really big investment. And now what you're doing is, because you invested 8 of your food into a 4-man melee ship, you have less units on the board now. You have less, so somebody could go with smaller units, which would give them more board control and less chance of potentially losing a unit, to have more backup to gather resources or to capture points and attack in different areas. I also kind of like the idea of you being able to go and attack your enemy's home base. And if you can destroy their home base, which is really tough, but if you can do it, you can win that way too. That also might be an alternate win condition. So let me just write out the basic. Players gather resources to spend on units. Whether it may be more gathering units or military units. This is like a basic, like, kind of, I'm writing like the description essentially. Military units are far superior in combat, in combat skills, while gatherers excel at resource collection. Players capture objectives and fight NPCs for loot to give them bonuses in resource collection. Source collection. Objectives can also give people points, I guess. How do we win? Killing all the units, but then if you kill, what if somebody has a bunch of food? So I don't think killing all the units is a way to win. My prediction is deadly amount, but worth testing. What do you mean? Like a large ship is like a deadly unit, you mean, or something? It's a big investment, though, you know? To win, how do you win? To win, players must so I think objectives should give you points. So to win, players can The player with the most points at the end of the game. And killing units gives you points as well. An alternate win condition is destroying their base. Home base. Players capture objective and scoring points. Killing opposing units also gives points. Maybe based off the size. And type of unit? Like military? I don't know. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of death with the 2-ups. Yeah, so it honestly might be better to make it where you need a 6 to succeed on attacking, you know? But a military gives you +1, you're up to 5, and now if you're getting your bonuses, you go up to a 4. You know what I mean? And maybe we get rid of the exploding die or something. We're going to have to figure that out. That part I don't know. That's a testing thing. Do we want the game to be super killy? Maybe we want it to be super killy to where you're losing units constantly and you're constantly replenishing units. You know what I mean? So I kind of just need to get a basic outline of the game made, and I need to start playtesting it. And then I can start working on it. That's kind of what this is right here. Just all the basics of how to play this simple game at the moment. I'm trying to think. I think I have everything. So we have unit types. We have unit sizes. So resource cost conversion, I guess you could say. We have our resources. So let me just go over it. Okay, we got our overview. Actions. Okay. The gather, the shoot or fight, cruise, or full throttle ram. We have our resources, which are the fish, the scrap, the loot. We have our loot table to go with the loot, which you need it. A trade post, which is just going to be an item probably on the map or something. Or you can bring it back to your home base, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Comeback mechanic. We need to figure that out, but that's there. We have our unit types, which there's the 4 unit types, and then the unit sizes. So you can mix your types with your sizes and mix and match. We could probably have a chart, right, where it's like it has the fishers, or it has the types, and then the sizes, and then we have a chart where it shows you so you can quickly look at it, even though it's very simple. If you want a 2-man military, you want a 2-man melee military, it's going to cost 4 food. We can have a chart for it, right? One last ship type might be guard. It takes attacks first and can intercept, but can't attack or gather. So like a tank in like World of Warcraft, like a damage soaking ship. Is that what you're saying? Like a defense ship? But then you're... Oh, and maybe it's got a really good defense roll. It's really good at soaking up hits. I kind of like that, because I'm like, why would you have a defense ship? Because you can just use worker ships that could gather resources. Or you could use military ships that could fight, and you could just stick them in a defensive position. But melee military gets +1 to melee. Range military gets +1 to range. We could do defensive military gets +1 or +2 to defense. They can't attack or gather, but they're super tanky. That is such a great idea, Jenny Bratz. By the way, if we ever make this into a real game, you're gonna have like credited for the name. You're going to be credited for rules. I have to credit you for a whole bunch of stuff. You, Cosmic, some other folks. You guys have come up with some great ideas, by the way. Maybe we'll, you know what it'll be? We'll have to, like, have named characters of you guys. You'll be in, like, the lore. We'll have to have, like, lore in the lore of the game. You guys be, like, people. Like the commander of the Scrappers or something. Jenny Brats or something. You know, whatever. You can tell me whatever you want me to call them or whatever. We'll have, like, some, like, characters or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll have to put you guys in the game, though, for sure. Because you guys have helped me out a lot. Defensive. Let's give him +2 to defense rolls. I feel like +1's not enough. This will be, we'll have to balance it. Because defense is hard, right? You know what? I'm genuinely thinking to shoot or to hit, you need a 6. Or maybe a 5. Because a defense roll is a, to save, you need a 6. You want to be a crazy turtle person, like a old cat lady? Okay. Sounds good. The Turtle Queen. You can get, yeah. I'm sure we can figure out something funny for that. Where do I put defense? Maybe that'll be in fighting. Or that'll be a stat. No, I guess everyone has it, huh? I think 4 to hit might be too much. Maybe it's 5. But then 6s are 2 hits? It's like... so let's see. A military melee unit within 6 inches is going to be hitting on 2s. A defensive military unit is going to be saving on 4s. Maybe you always save on a 4. That's why I think 6s needs to be... I think 6s are what you need to hit in general. It's tough to hit. It's tough to shoot on the water. It's easier to fish and scrap. I think that's the way we do it. And 6 is for defense. It's one of those games where it's like, you know, I don't think we should make it to where you're hitting on 2s and stuff all the time. Because that's Warhammer. And it's like, you might as well just roll a D2 or so, or even, you might as well, it's like you okay, I only fail on 1s. With my blood angels here get plus this in combat, and on the charge, it's like, I hit on 2s, rerolling everything, and I wound on 2s, rerolling everything. I don't want that to be the game. That's Warhammer, you know, I'm good with that. So maybe 6s. Yeah. And I like that for gathering resources, it's a 4. Or maybe it should be a 6. Because you're getting +1. Or maybe you get +2. I don't know, I need to figure this out, you know? This is the tricky part, for sure. This is game design, right? Yeah, I mean... the amount of... It would be guard, Rev playing guard versus me playing my Blood Angels. If I got a 5-man unit of assault intercessors, I don't even remember what they're called, into a 10-man unit of guard, it's like 25 chainsaw attacks, hitting on like 3s, re-rolling, like, or adding to the wounds. So I would wipe the squad, and then he would he would just sit still with a Kazarkin squad and wipe the whole blood. It would just be one squad, like, whole squads dying in one shot, re-rolling everything. That's like, I don't know, yeah. It's very rare that you would end up, like, I don't know. It would just always be like, everything fucking died. Super overkill everything. That's always what it seemed like. And who can just place their units better so they don't die, or who can kill the stuff quicker than the other person. Which is kind of how it is in general, but yeah, Warhammer 10th edition was super, like, super killy. Gathering on 4 sounds good right now? That's what I think. That's what I think. The idea is you want players to get resources, and you want them to spend it and put units on the board. Right? Oh, something I also need to put for resources is at the start of every turn. Start of the game, players get 5 resources, however they want, in any combination of fish and scrap, or food and scrap. We'll just say fish. We'll keep it simple. Fishers get fish, scrap gets scrap. I guess you could even start the game with 1 scrap. Let's say you go 1 scrap for food. You start the game. This would be so risky. But you start the game with 1 scrap gathering unit and a 2-man melee unit. And you just immediately start running up the board with your 2-man melee unit and start killing all of their gatherers. That could be a thing you could do. You know what I mean? At the start of each turn, players get 2 resources, we'll say, or 3. 2 or 3, whatever. Let's just say 3 resources. Or 2. We'll say 2. How many times can I misspell resources during this stream? Let's see. At the start of each turn, players get 2 resources unless a player is drastically ahead. Then the tall tale catch-up mechanic comes into play. God, I cannot spell. I'm just typing. I'm not a very good typer, by the way. Typist. At the start of each turn, players get 2 resources unless a player is drastically ahead. Then the tall tale catch-up mechanic comes into play. The player ahead gets 1 resource, and the one behind gets 3. I don't know. I'm just writing it down. Put a question mark there. We'll have to figure that out. But at the start of turn, each player gets 2 resources. That way, even if you're slightly behind, or even if you're whatever, you always get a chance to get some resources and keep going. Either or in resources, scrap or food or scrap, or scrap. So you could have 1 food, 1 scrap, 2 food, 2 scrap. I'd probably go for the biggest resource ship myself, but that's how I roll. So what? Let's say you start off the game with 5 scrap, or 5, so you would start off with 1 type of resource ideally, right? Or the most. So let's say you would start off with a 5-man scrap building ship, farm scrap like crazy. You get 5 scrap rolls per your ship, because it's a 5-man ship. So you're on turn 1, you could generate technically 10 scrap from 5 6s, and the next turn spawn 2 5-man ranged ships. Or you could spawn, what would be 10? You'd spawn 5 single ranged units or something. See, that's the thing. There's so many different ways you could go about it, right? There's so many ways you could go about it. Maybe we should it be 6 resources? I guess the starting resource number is kind of like determines how the size of the game almost. If you have a ton of starting resources, that kind of equates to generally it being a larger game with more units deploying. But if you start off with 2 resources and you're playing on a small board or something, realistically you're not going to get up to that many resources, so it's going to be just a smaller game. So I guess you could always have the starting resource number be the determine how the size of the army lists kind of end up being. Because there is no army list. You're building your army list on the fly in this game, you know? Yo, Freeballing, what's up, dude? How's it going? I think that's cool. I like that. I like that. You know what? We should probably... How much time? We got a little bit of time. Yeah, resources by a game size seems like a good idea. Yep. I'll do... starting resource size determines generally how large the game will be. Generally. Imagine you start popping off with 6s left and right and you're gathering fish and scrap and then you start deploying units. It could snowball. But then we got the tall tale mechanic. Alright. I like this. I think what we should do is we kind of have... We have it somewhat figured out now. I think we should give it another try. I think we should play one more game. But we'll scale it down. We'll make it smaller for this board. Maybe we start out with 3 resources like we did. And we'll try it out. We could play it. And we'll give it a play test again. Super simple. So let's do this. Let's get all this stuff off. How's it going, Freeballing? We're working on our very own, our custom tabletop miniature game, which is like RTS inspired, and it's a fishing war game. But essentially you have the apocalypse happened. The world's flooded because of the ice caps melting and all that. A lot of humanity's been lost under the seas, and mutated fish have taken over and all that. So it's like Waterworld. It's like a Waterworld RTS war game is a great way of describing it, with fishing and scraps. So you have fishing gatherers that go out and gather fish, which we have these unpainted little animals. And you also have scrapping ships that go out and gather scrap. You then spend those resources on military units, which are way better at fighting, and the military units you will spawn, depending on, you know, like a military unit costs twice of what a gathering unit. Food for food, scrap for scrap. So scrap is ranged, food is melee. But that's a basic idea. So let's do this. I'm gonna keep it simple. Everybody gets. In fact, you know what, Jenny? If you're gonna be sticking around, we got like another 30 minutes. We're gonna do a little play, do a little test. I'll play against you, being that you've been here this whole time. If not, whatever, it's all good. But what do you want? 2 food, 2 scrap, 1 scrap, 1 food. What do you want? We're gonna start out with 2 resources each. I'm gonna go scrap and a food. I'm gonna let you think. I'm gonna probably run and grab a drink real quick. But chat, you guys can. I'm gonna play against you guys, so feel free to get involved. We need a couple monsters. Let's just put 1 monster by each home base, or right here in the center, on either side. You kill NPCs for. You want 2 scrap? Okay, we'll give you 2 scrappers. For ranged production, I'm gonna go split, and I'm gonna go. What do you call it? I was heating up the water. I'm gonna go run and grab a drink real quick, and we're gonna give this a quick little play test. I know Mordian's going live probably around like 4 or something. So, oh, dude, this is the... I forgot. This is the... These can... I'm telling you right now, we're going to have, like, random events. But look at these little flies I tied. These are a mix between a crab and a juvenile flatfish called a flounder. I could totally use these as, like, NPCs. I'm going to, in fact. We're going to use my flies as NPCs because they're literally fish. So that'll be cool. Guns for days. Hell yeah. Okay. I'm going to run and grab a drink real quick. And we're going to roll off. Me and Jenny. We're going to see who's going first. In fact, let's do that. You can start planning your attack. All right, Jenny? Don't forget we have 3 objectives. Okay? And we have 2 NPCs. You kill an NPC, and it... gives you a chance to roll on the loot table. If you control an objective, then, and we'll just put these equally distanced in the middle. Let's just keep it simple. If you control an objective, you get 1 resource at the end of the turn. Okay? We've spent a resource. I'm going to roll off, see who goes first, and then you can plan your attack while I go grab a drink. You're going to be the cool color. I'll make you the black and white dice this game, because the black and white dice always roll hotter. And guess what? I knew I was going to roll a 5 on the red one, so get scammed. I'll be going first. But alright, let me go grab a drink real quick, chat. And, what do you call it? We'll be, we're going to play. Alright, me and Jenny Rats. You're going down, Jenny. Let me bump up the music for you guys. Hold on. All right. Thanks for being patient, chat. All right. Got a new drink. Let's go. Here we go. So I have the start of turn 1. Me versus Jenny Bratz here. I have a scrapping chip and a food ship, or a fishing ship. Moving up to objectives is good, but you can't fish if you move 12. You can only do it if you move 6. So let's move 6. Let's get our fishing ship over here. Oh, it looks like we almost got within range of an objective, but I'll just say we didn't because it was 6. And we'll make everything in the center. And I'm going to make a fishing roll. Fishing unit gets +1 to its roll, but unfortunately I would need a 3. Or maybe just they can only get... we'll figure it out. For now, we're just going to make it to where fishing units and scrapping get +1 for their equivalent thing, and you need a 4 to succeed. Maybe we shouldn't even give them a benefit and it's just 4s. Because they can only gather that stuff, right? Nothing else can gather it. So maybe it's just a baseline of 4. I actually kind of like that, honestly. But I did not succeed. Yeah, I don't even have that written down. All right, so we need a 4. So what would you like to do, Jenny? It's up to you. It's your turn. You got your 2 scrap gatherers. So you can move 6 and gather. You can run up to an objective. Guarantee you'll get a resource. Tell me what you'd like to do here. 6 towards objective and gather. You got it. Easy. 6 towards objective. Make it a little closer to you because I was a little closer to the other one. And roll. You need a 3. Oh, no, you need a 4. Because we don't get a better. It's just a 4 to gather. A 6 gives you 2. And you got a point of scrap. Easy. I'm already down on resources. Ay. All right. So I'm going to... I have a scrap gatherer. I'm going to move 6 towards an objective. And attempt a scrap gathering roll. And a 3. No, I did not get it. I would have got it with a bonus, but I didn't. Okay, but we have a catch-up mechanic. You got your next guy over here by your home point. You want to move towards the center objective and gather. I will say that's where, if I just ran right there, I got tea all over my face. I swigged that too aggressively. If I went to the objective, I would have guaranteed got myself a resource. 12 capped the point. Very smart. So let's move 12, and I guess maybe cap the center point, but stay away from a fish that's going to attack you. Stay an inch away from it or something, just for simplicity's sake. All right, now you have the point, which will, end of the turn, guarantees you a resource, which I'm assuming you want to scrap. So we're going to bump you up to 2 scrap at the end of the turn. You could, though. This is a cool thing. You started off with 2. If you want a food, you can let me know. But the cool thing is you start off with scrappers. The objectives gives you any sort of resource you want. So the objective can give you food or scrap. So that way you can start expanding into melee units, even though you've started out with only gathering scrap. Or you could trade. If you wanted to, you could trade at a trade post, for instance. Which maybe it'll be at like the end of every turn you can trade or something, for instance. I'm going to write that down because that seems like that might be a good thing as opposed to going to a trade post. But this is the end of the turn. Let me just write this down real quick. End of turn can trade. Question mark. Okay. End of the turn here. Now you are ahead. We haven't figured out the tall tale mechanic. I'll leave it up to you. Do you think I should get the catch-up and get a extra resource? You're only 2 ahead, though. That's honestly not that bad. So I'm gonna say no. I don't get the catch-up, but we could apply it. There needs to be like a ratio, I guess, for us determining that. Either way, you got 2 points at the end of the turn. We're gonna go to the start of turn 2. Everybody gets 3 resources. Or maybe we'll just make it 2 because it's a small game. So everybody gets 2. What do you want? You want 2 scrap? Maybe I should get a catch-up, but we're not going to. This is a test. What do you want? You want 2 scrap? You want 2 fish? It's up to you. I need to go kill a monster or something. And get some extra resources. I gotta do something here. What do you want? You get 2 extra resources. You want 2 extra scrap to bring you up to 4 and spend it all on a ranged military unit or something? I tell you what I'm gonna do. I guess it should... The way this will work, both players declare what they're spending it on at the same time, so you don't have anyone cheating. I'll buy a small gunboat and 2 scrappers. Ooh, very smart. Everybody declares it at the same time. I'm going all in on the melee units. Let's see what happens. I'm going 2 food for a melee unit here, because I want to try and kill that fish. But we're going to give you a ranged unit as well. And you deploy them by your home base. Okay. So that's the start of the turn. I'm going to go now. Let's immediately off the bat try and secure resources. Move 6 to the objective there and make a fishing roll. Man, the fish don't like me today, boys. I definitely didn't sharpen my hooks. All right. What would you like to do? Your go. We're going to play like 3 or 4 turns to get an idea here. Would you like to... you got a couple different options. You got your 2 resource gatherers over here. You have your 1 gunboat. Oh, did you want a 2-man 2 scrapper? So did you want a 2-man boat for scrapping? Or do you want just 2 scrappers? Move the gun and shoot the fish. Gotcha. Take your gunboat, small gunboat here, and shoot the fish. You're getting +1 to ranged, and you did get within 6. So I'm going to make it to where you're hitting on a 4 because it's normally on a 6. And you got a 6. Let's just say for the sake of things... Well, no, because 6s are... You always hit on a 6, right? So we aren't going to have exploding. I don't know. Because if you always hit on 6, then it's like... So that means every hit's 2 hits. We'll just say it's 1 hit. But you get the added benefit. We took out the exploding then for now. All right. So you hit it. This thing's going to try and save. Needs a 6. No. So you kill the fish. And we're going to roll on the loot table for you. A 2 gives you a food. So you get 1 food from that. Which, that's just the randomness of the table. From the random table, you can always convert and do things you want. Oh, the food's the single one, I forgot. Okay. Very nice, though. And you've cleared that monster, so you can get more dudes on the point. There is the chance to get items, right? So that's the cool thing with that. I am going to move this range unit here to the objective and make a resource gathering roll, because I want to get out of the way for this ship to go full throttle and charge into the fish. And a 3, no. Damn it! My guys suck at resource collecting. They're terrible. Alright, what would you like to do? You have your 2-man scrapper and your 2 single scrappers. Maybe move up to the point, resource collect. Man, I'm really behind. Move 6 on the bottom, gather, capture point. I already knew what you were going to do, because it's the wise choice. Hey-ya! Ah, you get 2 scrap! Okay, the tall tail's definitely kicking in this turn. So you got 2 scrap there on a 6. Because a 6 is... What you did is, you fished up a, like a hubcap or something that's worth good money. Or that you fished up a good piece of metal that you can use to make stuff. Okay, very good. I just have this melee unit. I'm going to charge 12. And I'm going to charge and fight the fish. The fish will fight at the same time. I think we have everything fight at the same time. I like that idea. I'm looking for 5s to hit. And 6s... No, 6s aren't anything. So 5s to hit. Because I'm a melee unit. And the monsters are always 6. Okay, so that's 1 hit. And the monster's going to make a save on a 6, and it saves. Damn it! Maybe the monster shouldn't have saves, but it does, and I have to back off a little bit. Boys, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. All right, Jenny, you have your 2-man scrapper and your 1 scrapper in the middle. So, now this is interesting. You can shoot with this thing, but it only hits on a 6. So you can now start it. You can attack with your scrappers if you want, or you can just you can really just start piling up the scrap. So probably this point is contested. So you could either consolidate the point or just keep scrapping with the scrapper here, and you get a 2-man scrapper there. What would you like to do? Attack the fish with the scrapper. You rascallion, you. I see how it is. You're trying to steal my monster loot. On a 6. Oh my god, I saw the 6 for a second. I was going to be pissed. Alright, a 5. And last but not least, you have your 2-man scrapper ship. You have a small scrapping ship. Or, a medium, whatever. So what would you like to do? Maybe you can either scrap, or you can run onto the point in the center and consolidate that. I think this is where you want to get resources, right? Absolutely worth it. Because now you got a 2-man scrap. You're already ahead in points. You can take risks, right? You're sending a villager forward in AoE 2 with Loom to try and, build the tower by my base to screw me up, So you can either run 12, or you can, move 6 and scrap. Part of me thinks you should get a benefit to scrap if you stay completely still. Gather. Let's just move you 6. We don't have that mechanic figured out. Let's move you towards the center, probably, because you want to consolidate the point, I want to say. And we got 2 dudes scrapping on 5s, right? Because they get +1. Oh, no, 4s. But a 6, you fail 1, but the 6 equals the 2. We go up all the way to 4 scrap. So at the end of the turn, let's tally up objectives. You have this objective for 1 resource of your choosing, and I have 1. So I'm just gonna pick 1 scrap. I need some scrap. And you have 4 scrap and 1 food. So this is where the catch-up mechanic happens. And we need to figure it out, and we're gonna come up with it. So normally both players get 2 resources at the start of each turn. Oh, what do you want? Do you want a scrap or do you want a food? We got to bump you up. For the tall tale, start of the next turn, though, how should we do this mechanic? This is snowballing really fast for you versus me. So maybe we should make it that you don't get free resources if you're way ahead and the person gets some resources. Because then you would be at... Oh god, you're going to be at 6 resources to my 3 if we do it like that, which is still something. 1 food for trade for scrap. Hell yeah. Alright, so you get your scrap, and then we'll say at the end step of the turn, at some point you can do the trade, we'll say. So you're going to just convert that. I'm going to take that away. You're going to make 5 scrap. You have 5 scrap now. I kind of like the catch-up mechanic, where if a person is significantly in the lead, they don't get any free resources, and the person behind does. So I'll just say I get 2 free resources, and let's make it scrap. So I have 3 scrap now. So that puts you to 5 scrap to my 3, and you still have more units on the board. You trade it either at the end of the turn or at the start of turn 1, whatever, we'll see. But now I've gotten my points. It's like the command step, if you will, or the trading step, whatever we call it. The market. So now it's my turn. Or now you got to determine, what do you want to spend? The biggest scrapper boat I can get, that's going to be a 2-man. Oh, wait. Biggest scrapper. Not ranged. So that's going to be a 5-man. That's the biggest ship size, a large. So the cool thing is, like, you would have all these different ships. So, like, you can build, like, a tugboat with a bunch of dudes, like, on it. You know, with, like, magnets with ropes and, like, with hammers and stuff that are scrappers. And they're all, like, post-apocalyptic looking. That's the idea, right? I mean, the crazy thing is you're going to need a lot of miniatures for this game. Because you're going to need to have, like, all the different possibilities of miniatures you could potentially use. But I guess that's kind of how it is, right? Interesting. Okay. Wow, this is interesting. I have 3 scrap. I should probably go with a 3-man scrapper, but part of me wants to go with 1 ranged unit and a scrap just because I don't have enough minis. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, perfect. So now it's the start of turn 3. The movement with, like, you know, we've done our command stuff. So now don't forget, for each unit you kill, you can get points. And for each objective you control at the end of the turn or end of the game, you get points. I don't know. We don't know how people win, but that's fine. We'll figure it out. So let's see. What do I want to do here? I'm gonna charge your scrapper right here with my melee dudes. I don't want you getting my fish. Get out of here. Now you get to fight because you are a unit. Every unit gets to fight. Right? Well, you're a ranged unit. Do we think every unit should be able to fight in melee? We probably should, right? But only if you get, like, charged. If you're a ranged unit, you can't charge people, but if somebody charges you, you can fight. I'm gonna say so, but it's like a 6 you need. Yeah, I think we should do that, right? Probably. But I'm gonna attack you with 2 attacks, and I'm hitting on, I get plus. Oh, I charged within 6. And I'm melee, so I get plus 2 going up to 4s. That's what it was. Oh, I get 1 attack. You got a 5, so that doesn't hit because you're a ranged unit. So that's 1 attack. So you're defending on a 6. And you do it. So I'll back up now. Damn it! Okay, we're getting there. We're figuring it out. We're figuring out the game. Don't forget, we have defensive ships, too. I don't even have those. All right, what would you like to do, Jenny? Your go. You have a 5-man scrapper, a 2-man scrapper. You have 2 scrappers, single scrappers, and you have a single ranged unit. Shooting military ship. Gunboat. Yeah, I think I'm screwed, chat. We'll have to figure out the comeback mechanic to where... But I mean, like, you don't want to punish somebody for doing good, right? Jenny's kicking my ass. Big boat north, 6, gather scrap. Yes. Yes, indeed. North, you say, eh? A little flanking maneuver. Tugboat. All right, and you're making 5. So this is... Okay, so this is something to think about balance-wise. No, maybe it is a good thing, hey? It could snowball. 5 people, it's 5 resource rolls. That seems like a lot. But we're going to try it. We're going to do it. But maybe something to think about in the future for each crew member that's on the ship. Maybe you get a bonus to your roll instead. That might be a better way to balance it. But no matter what, you're making 5 resource scrap rolls. And you got 2 6s and a 5. So you get 5 scrap from your 5 scrap ship. Good investment. Good investment, I will say. That's something to think about balance-wise, right? Maybe it's better to do a bonuses. Rise up the turtles. So you're going to have a turtle army is what you're telling me. I like it. Turtle scrappers with, like, guns and stuff. Sounds perfect to me. There needs to be more turtle scrapping boat armies out there. Or turtles. You don't even need boats. You have actual turtles. And there's like dudes on turtles with like machine guns. They're riding the turtles. I don't know. You can figure it out. Okay. What I'm going to do now. Damn, this is tricky. Need more military and stuff too. I'm going to, let's keep it simple. I'm going to leave my options open. I'm just going to gather food real quick with them over there. And no, unfortunately, because they need a 4 to do it. I've rolled 3s on all of my gather rolls. Bullshit. Ridiculous. All right, what would you like to do, Jenny? You have your 2 singular scrappers, your 2-man scrapper, and your ranged unit. Maybe it's the player gets resources at the start of the next turn if they're behind for free, minus a certain amount. Minus the starting resources or something. I don't know, something. Like, if you're ahead by 6 points, maybe I should get 4 points for free. Or something. You know what I mean? We'll have to figure that out. Move, gun 6, and shoot fish if you can. It's going to be risky because your guys are there. I don't know if you can, but let's just say you can for fun. You can see the tail of the fish. Go for it. You're hitting on a... you moved within 6, looks like, so we'll give you a +2 to your... because you're a ranged unit. Yeah, me and Jenny Bratz has been helping us significantly. I said we're going to have to immortalize Jenny Bratz as some sort of significant character in the game because they've been helping out dramatically. So we're doing one more test round before Morning goes live here, and I go take a shower after the stream and get back to editing. 4 hits, you hit it, and a defense roll for the monster. Nope. So we're going to roll on the loot table. You take out the Krook, which is a half fluke, half crab monster. And you get a 6, which is a special elixir, which allows you to restore a wound to a unit at any time. Which will just give you that to in your... it's usually the unit that kills the, I think, is the thing. So I'll give it to this. This is like a don't die for this guy. Maybe a comeback randomizer like cards or roll dice. That's what we need to figure out, right? Because Jenny is now significantly in the lead in terms of like unit size and points, but it's not too bad. I've just been doing terrible, so that's fine. So this guy has the elixir. We'll give him this little thing. Okay, so let's see. You went there and there. I went there and here. I'm going to... I really need to make resources, so I need to get resources. I can't be greedy. I need it. So... And a 5 gets me 1 scrap. Thank God. 1 scrap, at least. I can't... I'm falling behind on, like, the resource gathering. I went military yet, and that was my issue. Jenny was smart. I was working... Jenny for sure on have to. You guys are play this together. Oh yeah. You guys will get the rules before anyone else does. I'm not gonna make this stuff public till it's. I'm not gonna like release it till I'm happy with it. But I don't mind like us playing it and testing it out together. You can't even copyright game mechanics. So if somebody wants to steal it, go ahead. But what do you call it? You're gonna gather with the small boat. Okay, sounds good. This one or the one that can shoot something? We'll do this one, right? Because we'll leave the one that can shoot. It's up to you. South or north right here on your gatherers. What was I going to say? I forgot. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to put the rules out for a while. You guys, like, you know, I'm going to give it to some folks that I trust beforehand. You guys can play it and give me feedback, you know. South? Gotcha. Yeah, because the other one can shoot. 3, no, doesn't do it, unfortunately. Now, I am going to... Oh, I have an idea. We're going to... You are on the objective, though. So I would have to kill both your unit, or this unit. Well, we'll say this is on the point, too. Or you had to move to shoot. Whatever. We'll just say, this, whatever. You're on the point. I can't kill both. So what I need to do... So running on the objective is not going to help me. What I need to do is move 6 and do a resource gather. Ooh! Ha! 6. That's 2 extra strap, bumping me up to 3. Okay. Things aren't going terrible yet. Now, you have a 2-man scrapper here, Jenny, and you have a 1-man scrapper. This 1-man scrapper can shoot, so it's up to you. Jenny's at 5 scrap, I'm at 3. And we're both going to be getting 1 resource at the end of the turn, unless she can kill me off this objective somehow. I still have my 1 shooting unit, which I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to come here and try and shoot this dude. I'm going to, like, come here and see if I can get within 6, maybe not. But, so you may want to activate this guy right now. That reminds me, poon jabber is a fishing term. Like the dude harpooning a tarpon or something? Because in the fishing, we call poons are the tarpon. They call tarpon as a nickname. Which tarpon are crazy-ass fish if you don't know them. 2-man move up and got 6 gather. I'll just move you this way, 6. 2 gather rolls. 2 scrap. Easy money. Up to 7 scrap. You know what? This is... I want this game, though. I want units to be flooding the board, and I want you to be able to deploy large warships, you know? But we shouldn't forget, you know what? This could be a way to limit things. And I'm going to write this down. Maybe each turn has a limit on how many resources in total you can have. And as the game turns go on, you can hold more resources. That could be a good way of balancing that, Jenny. That's you came up with that idea of limiting, capping. I'm going to write that down as a thing to think about. And that represents the feudal age in AoE, where you're limited on what you can do and how strong you can be. Then you move to the castle age, where you can get even stronger, and then you can move to the imperial age, where there's the strongest unit. So by turn 4, you can have a crazy resource number stockpiled, so at the turn 5 you can deploy a giant unit or something. I'll have to think about that, but I'm just gonna write that possibly scales with the turns. Okay. Now it's my go, right? Because you have 1 left. I'm going to move here. Let's see if I can shoot. Jenny's giving me a chance, obviously. And it's within 6. All right, firing. Because obviously I think you'd want to go there, but we're just playing for fun. It's a hit. You get a 6 to defend. Damn it! Every time. Okay. Even with Jenny giving me a chance, you can't change. Dice tells stories, like Play on Tabletop says. You know what I mean? And this guy kicks ass. That guy deserves a nickname. All right, end of the turn. Right? Oh, no, now you get to go. What do you want to do with the guy that's invincible? And that's a scrapper. Turtle shell up. Look, you guys, I mean... This is how it is with Rev. I'm Cosmic in this situation, and Rev is Jenny Bratz, where Rev's rolling 5s and 6s all the time. I have to pick up his dice and check. You know what I mean? I'm you, Cosmic. So we share that similar fate. I'm the person in the tabletop where I have and Rev's like boom, 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 rolling crazy dice. I'm like, what the hell is this? What do you want to do? You want to resource gather? Try and get yourself up to 8? Possibly 9, and deploy a 4-man warship? Shoot the sword boat. Okay, yes. Okay. Now you're hitting on a 6 because you're a resource gatherer, not a ranged unit. But knowing you... Okay, I'm going to try and roll 6 to defend. Okay, and I lose a melee. 1 member of the melee crew. Your Russian spotter was still BS on our last game, Jenny. Yeah, there's always some thing like that in our games. Wait till you guys see the Apocalypse game, okay? And I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm pretty certain the von Zergling guy is invincible. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to give too much away, but who would have thought Totenkor are really hard to kill? Okay. That's the end of the turn. End of the game. Or not end of the turn. End of the turn 3. You have... we're going to bump you up to 8 scrap because you control 1 objective. And I know you want your scrap. And I'm going to bump myself up to 4 scrap here. That being said, Tall Tale Mechanic. If somebody's up ahead, they don't get it. So I'm going to get 2 scrap here because you're 4 ahead. I don't know how we figure out the ratios, but let's just say whatever. That puts me up to 6 scrap. Start of the turn, you can go with a 4-man range ship if that's what you want, or an 8 or not, or a 5-man resource and a 3-man resource, whatever. I have 6. I'm gonna go with a 3-man range unit. Is what I'm gonna do here. We're gonna play one more turn here. I don't even know if we determine who wins, but we're just going through it. The biggest you can get, hell yeah. All right, I don't have 4 more range guys here, so what I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna give you the flying bloat thing monster. That's what you get, and it's a 4-man warship. All right. To simulate that, we'll give you 2 fish guys with it. Haha! Oh no! It's a flying bloat swarm fish ship. Okay, and what am I gonna do? I got a 3-man shooting squad. A 3-man shooting ship. Okay. Start of the turn here, I get to go. What can I even do? God help me. I need to control the objectives, right? By the end of the game or something? Is that what the hell? I don't we haven't determined how we win, but we're not worrying about who wins, you know? That would not die and won the game. Oh my god. That forward observer won the game? That's crazy. Or the spotter? But a spotter can't score, right? Are you just saying the spotter was able to allow her to just destroy your units with the artillery or something? Alright. What do I do here? I don't even know if we're going to know who wins. I think we'll just look at the board and say Jenny wins probably at the end of this. Because we haven't figured out necessarily. It's either you destroy the enemy's base, which we haven't figured that out, or like controlling objectives and killing units. We'll just say Jenny wins at the end of this game, but we're going to play this turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge your shooting unit. Huzzah! And attack! You get to fight back, but you only hit on 6, and I hit on 4s because I was within 6. Artillery radio guy. A forward observer, yep. So he can score, because that is a dude, right? Yeah. Ooh, unfortunately, I don't manage anything here. So I have to back up an inch. Alright, what would you like to do, Jenny? You have resource... 2 single scrap gatherers, a 2-man scrap gatherer, a 5-man scrap gatherer, and a 4-man ranged warship. The spotter turned the tie on the middle point, and just enough to edge me out and win the game. Yep, that's how she goes. Hey, they're pretty pricey, though. Forward observers and stuff. They can be pretty pricey, you know? Like, what, 75 or something points for a single dude? So whenever Rev used them, I always prioritized killing them because I was so scared of them, too. He had, like, 7 pins and was still able to roll low enough to have the spotter run his turn. Hell yeah. 2-man scrap, full speed top. Ooh, okay, yeah, to contest. Very smart. Very smart. I like it. Very, very smart. You know, let's just say this is the, oh, that could be a way to determine... I wonder if resources at the end of the game can count towards points. That's something we should think about. I'm going to write that down. Because like if we're figuring out points, maybe leftover resources count. I don't know, maybe not. Anyways, I'm just thinking as we play. So let's see. I want to try and I need that. Let's just say we're gonna keep this simple. Whoever controls the most objectives at the end of at the end of the turn will win or whatever. So you're contesting me there. You have this one. I should try and contest you or get you off the center, and you're gonna probably do the same thing to me. So maybe now it's like the last turn. You don't need to worry about his resources gathering as much as possible or something. What a great game. Love K47. Dude, K47 of Bolt Action is the GOAT. Okay? There's no other way of saying it. Maybe you have different win conditions and pick one at the start of the game. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. I was thinking about having multiple win conditions in the form of either points and or destroying their home base, because this is where you spawn. Like, I think the way the game will work, it'll be like Turnip 28, where you have to bring a small piece of terrain as your home base, and you can make like a little shack with a dock, or you can make like a floating mothership, whatever, but you're gonna have your home base, and that'll be where you kind of spawn everything, and it's a terrain piece that you bring to the table, because that's kind of cool. I love that about Turnip 28 is a faction terrain piece, that, or like your warband's terrain piece. That'll be your home base. They can try and destroy it. I don't know how we're going to do that, but like you can get your units around there and try and blow it up is the idea. Right now we're just going to do it to whoever's controlling the most objectives at the end of the turn, just to keep it simple, because we're going to finish here soon. All right. I charged. Nothing happened. Jenny Bratz ran there, kicked me off the point. I'm going to try and do what I can here to maybe get that point back. I'm going to move 6 onto the point here and shoot at the 2-man ship. Maybe move, or I'll leave a little gap here. I don't need to be on the point. I have that food ship. I'm only hitting on a 6 though. It's getting kind of desperate, but if I can, whatever. This may be not the smartest move, but I'm doing it. Nope. Okay. Jenny's up next. You got a ranged unit here and a gatherer, 5-man gatherer, 4-man boat ship. Yeah, we're dead, chat. I think all you got to do now is kill me off the center, right? Because you're contesting that one. Up to you. You tell me how you're going to win. Because you probably shoot this guy. I could run on the point, but I can't really shoot. You could do all sorts of stuff. You can actually maybe take this guy, move out that way, and then move here and shoot that. You know what I mean? Because you got your resource gatherer, your 5-man scrapper, 4-man shooting, 1-man shooting. Small ship, shoot, attack. Okay. And that's, yeah, you're shooting there on a 4. No, on a 2 doesn't do it, unfortunately. Oh, wait, you also have your elixir. That's what that is. Okay. So now, what am I gonna do? Fuck, we gotta get on the point, but I'm screwed. What do I do? I'm gonna move 6. Shoot at your shooting guy. A 5 hits. 6 to defend. No, take out the shooting guy. But you have an elixir. But you use your elixir so he doesn't die. Okay. Here go, Jenny. Small scrap, big scrap, big shoot. We're gonna need to figure out, like, if you have more units than the other person on an objective, you control it, and maybe military units count better for controlling. We're gonna need to figure it out, because I guess you could just tie at the end of the game if there's just units all over all the objectives, right? I need to figure that out. There's probably gonna be, like, every unit on the point, gatherer unit, counts as one. Like, you're gonna add up the number, see who controls the point for, like, control points, we'll call it, or whatever. I don't know, control status. Well, yeah, I gotta come up with this term. But, like, each military unit counts as 2. So, like, a 2-man military unit would count as 4, and a 3. And if you had, like, 3 gatherer units, the military guys would control it. We'll have to figure that out. Big shoot up 12. Up 12 to the middle. Yep. Mm-hmm. Damn. Let's do that. We'll say that we'll go by points. I guess we should just flood, and you're going to definitely cap it. What I will do, though, is... No, so I'm going to go here, then, and I'll shoot those guys and try and get one of them off that point. Nope. You got these 2 small scrappers and a 5-man scrapper. I guess you just get on the center, right? Like, the more units you have, you'll command it, and then you'll control it. Because you'll have this one, and this one, and I'll have that one. Or something. Or that one's even tied, because I'm not on it with my other unit. Yeah, we'll have to figure out how you end up controlling objectives and stuff. I think this is great, though. Like, the doubling the resources for the military. Like, this second go-around... This gameplay mechanic, I don't know how we win, but what we're doing right now, I think this is like working good. This is working well. And needing 6s to hit, so the militaries get the bonus. 4s to gather on resources, 6s equal 2. You know, I think this is like a good starting thing. We got a good little formula here. 12 to the top, you got it. Let's just put you on there. And I'll take my 3-man shooting and just go to the center. And you got your 2 scrappers. Single scrappers. Which you could try and shoot, I guess. Get a lucky shot. I mean, you're controlling it for sure. Because I have 8 points here. You have 8 here. Plus, this would be 9 points. So you'd control the center or something. For the glory of Tortuga! Hell yeah. So take these guys, shoot, you're gonna shoot one of my dudes with this dude. Let's just do that. We're almost done here. So you're shooting that guy or something. Huzzah! And it hits because it's a 6 and he needs a 6 because he's a gatherer. What the hell is this, Jenny? And no, so you kill one of these dudes, taking a point away, or taking points away from the thing or whatever. And it's also be like the amount of units you kill can like be points. So there's like multiple ways, right? We could have it be. And the rest attack, yeah. This guy stays on the point, but shoots my guy. We'll just say one of my guys, whoever. 6. No, okay. End of the turn, end of the game, whatever. Jenny Bratz is essentially contesting me here, so I don't control it, because we're just saying kind of within an inch or something for the control, because it's a small board. You out-control me here in the center, like Warhammer style, and you control this one. So you get 2 points, nothing at the end of the game. We'll have to figure out again how to win. But good game. GG's. Round of applause. What do you think? I like it. I like this little like loop we got going on, or this. I like the mechanics. I like how it goes. I think it's a little snowbally, right? With the resource gathering, we have to figure out the comeback mechanic, or it's if you have a certain amount of resources or units more than the person, then you know they're gonna get some resources. We'll have to figure that out. I don't want to make it, like, too handholdy, though, right? I think it is a little... We'll have to figure that out, though. We have to figure out... Yeah. Definitely +1 gathering for staying still. I think so, too. So what you can do is you can... Another action you can take is... Sit still, or, like, I guess it's not an action... It's just whether or not you moved. Yeah, I like that. Movement allowed me to control too much? Yeah, so I think it's definitely like... Stain still gives you the benefit for gathering, right? For sure. Yeah. I'm really tempted to say you only gather on a 6, but no, the 4s are good, and then double for the 6. But maybe it's you only gather on a 6, and then if you stay still, you get. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But I like it. I do think you need to make it to where staying still and gathering is gives you a benefit, right? Because it felt bad when I kept rolling 3s on the resource collection. You know what I mean? For sure. We have officially put more testing in this game than GW has into 11th edition. They probably put just enough. They're like, all right, yep, we got it, cool. All right, they probably were like, how much? Let's see what new units we can make sprues for and bump it up to $70 for 5 Space Marines or something. What's a 5-man box of assault intercessors? Is it still what it was like a year or two ago, or did it go up? Is it like, especially probably with tariffs now, it's probably even more expensive. What am I thinking? But yeah, Rev just won the Necron character or something from Mohawk Miniatures, who streams miniature painting and building on Twitch. He's like a professional miniature painter. He does it commissions. He won like a Necron character, so now he's gonna make a Necron army and everything. He was telling me he's all pumped. He's still pumped for the 11th edition. Probably went up like 3 times by now. 60. Okay, so that's what it was, which was, I think it was like 50 when I bought them, or $55 for 5 assault intercessors. I don't know. Whatever it was, it fucking sucked. But yeah, that sounds about right. When you think about it, for $60, you can get 30 German infantry or 30 American infantry in bolt actions. Isn't that wild? Oh boy. All right. Interesting. All right, but there you go. Yeah, I like this. I don't think there's another game that's like it, too. I kind of just, again, I don't know what the StarCraft game is like. I hope it's not too similar. But I just used, like, Warcraft 3 or AoE as, like, an inspiration and thought how I could put that on the tabletop. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to be fishing and ships. It could be on shore. If you do it on shore or on land and you're using, like, fantasy miniatures and stuff, you have archers, you have melee dudes, or you have, like, peasants. And you have like wood choppers or gold miners or something, or you did it in futuristic with Apocalypse, then it would probably be easier for anyone to play because they don't need to have ships and stuff. So, and we're doing it like they could do it like the way we're doing it now with just miniatures and adding miniatures for size. So it doesn't have to be just fishing, by the way. I think we're going to have like a land base, or it's just going to be. It might just be the game is like. It's not even fishing. It's just anything. And it could be a fishing game, or it could be a fantasy game, or it could be a sci-fi game. Definitely, military units should count for 2 cap points. That's what I think. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me make sure I wrote that down real quick. I think so. Gatherers have 1 cap point. Military are 2 cap points per unit, or per crew and unit, I guess we could say, or whatever. I don't know. We'll figure that out. You like the Mad Max water vibe, though? I know. Yeah, but I guess I could always just make another game using the game system and switch up all the wording and add flavor for a land-based version. Don't worry. I like the Mad Max water, too. But I'm thinking about how I can make it also more accessible. So I could just have like 2 games where it's the same game, you know? But different flavors. Or an expansion for land, whatever. I don't know. Gatherers have 1 cap point. Military, 2. So now is it 2 cap per... Or is it 2 cap per crew? Or per unit? No, it's per crew. It's per crew, because otherwise, what's the point of having a 1-man military unit caps as much as a 5-man military unit? That doesn't make sense. Per crew. And gatherers have 1 point cap per crew. Okay. There we go, dude. I think we got a nice little thing going on, chat. We got a nice little outline here for the game. I'm gonna try and come up with a basic sheet or like a basic layout for the game rules and have it for you folks that watch the stream, like Cosmic, Jenny, or maybe some folks in Discord or something. I'm gonna make it to where it's like I'll get like an alpha version of the game, a playtest or something, and get it set up at some point. And then you guys can try it out, and we can all, everyone can give me feedback on it. So, but very nice. I think we got a nice little thing here. I don't think we need a hold action. Well, maybe. I'll have to see. Unit type. Oh, I forgot. Jenny also added a brand new military unit type, which I love. The defense unit. Purely a tank unit. That's all it is. All it does is saying, I'm putting points on the objective, and maybe you could create a blockade. Oh my god. You take defense units and you put them in between the islands, creating a ship blockade, saying, hey, you got to get through my defense units to get to my home base. I like that. That's pretty cool. You know what I mean? That's interesting. Yo, Hip Fishing, what's going on, dude? How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Speaking of which, I'm filming I'm finishing editing this one video. I gotta film a fly tying video later, and I gotta start working on some fishing videos, some discussion videos for summertime striper fishing and stuff. So I gotta get on that. What's this? So if you don't know, I have my main YouTube channel, Li Flies Mike, for fly fishing and fly tying. I have a second YouTube channel which has been growing it's been getting pretty popular. It's a tabletop wargaming channel. So we play kind of like Warhammer 40k, but we play Conflict, Bolt Action, whatever. Tabletop war games, using miniatures and stuff and rolling dice. We're coming up with our own game that's based off of fishing, and the world ends, and you need to either gather scrap from under the water, or you need to catch fish, and then you can spend those resources to make military units. So it's a war game that's based off of like fishing and like Mad Max sort of shit, you know what I mean? Post-apocalyptic fishing, scrapping, apocalypse war game, you know what I mean? So, dude, it's fun. We've been making battle report videos for about a year or two now, and playing different games. There's so many cool games. Like One Page Rules is a free one. If you ever were looking to get into a war game, you don't need to buy anything. You could download the rules for free and use like little things, anything you have. You don't need miniatures. Just to try it out. Check out One Page Rules if you're ever interested. But I'm looking forward to kit bashing a bunch of turtles for the game. Yeah, you're gonna have to. I think you're gonna have the written lore. Some lady was on Facebook getting rid of lure making stuff. She gave me boxes and boxes of shit, and there's fly tying stuff in there, all free. Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Do you do any tying or whatnot, or you just do lure making? Well, maybe get into some tying, or always make some teasers or something like that, you know what I mean? Or you can dress some hooks for your plugs, vice versa, you know? So, but, all right, chat. Well, I tell you what. Absolutely, this went better than I thought. First off, shout out Jenny Bratz, shout out Cosmic, but especially Jenny Bratz for being super proactive in the chat and helping me out with the essentially in real time development of our own miniature game. So I do appreciate it. I've only done the painting, but now I have all the stuff for spoons, flies, and jigs, so I might expand a little. Yeah, dude, try it out. Make some spoons or jig. I'd say like a jig would probably be the most versatile thing, and then if you like it, you can get into flies, because flies you just take away the lead head and it's essentially a fly, right? So yeah, but thank you again. I appreciate it. And what do you call it? I'm super excited for this. So I'm super excited for this. I've been working on it in the background, and now my excitement levels are even higher, because I already thought it was kind of cool. But after like trying it out and like brainstorming and stuff, I'm really excited about it. And if I can ever one day officially release my own miniatures game, of course, it has to be something fishing related, because that's like what I've done my entire life is fly fishing related stuff and make fly fishing content. Then I think it's going to be cool. So I'm super excited. So thanks, chat, for hanging out. I appreciate it. What do you call it? Like I said, I'm trying to do some hobby streams during earlier in the day before Memoridian streams. So, but Friday we got our fly tying stream as always. I'm working on some fly tying videos. I'm working on our next battle report, 3,000 point apocalypse game for Conflict. So we got a lot of stuff coming up here in the near future, video-wise and all that. So just stay tuned. But eventually, hopefully, we'll have our own miniatures game, and that'll be a lot of fun. We got so many streaming opportunities to make our own boats, our own fishermen, our own terrain stuff, all that, and play the game, test it out, do this and that, and then I can eventually make battle reports on it and build up some hype, and then maybe, you know, release the game or something. So that would be cool. What was the site? Yeah, it's called One Page Rules. That's it. One Page Rules. It's miniature agnostic, so if you did have miniatures for like D&D or something, you can use them, but feel free to just take anything. Take bottle caps. Use the bottle caps as your dudes, whatever. And put out some cereal boxes on a table and use that as terrain. Do whatever. They also have paper cutouts for free. You can cut out little dudes and use them. So, but check it out. I highly recommend it. And get a buddy and try it out, or get like a spouse or one if you got kids or something, whatever. They'll probably have fun with it. Or you can play alone solo too and just play as the enemy as well. That's what I do sometimes. Back in the day before I started making videos and stuff. So, for the Octo Cult, yeah, well, Cosmic will be the octopus people, for sure. But I'll only officially immortalize you in the book if you make we'll have to have you record vocals for the octopus song. Okay? And I'll re-record the guitar and everything. We'll make it 100% real person octopus song one day. Okay? Then I'll make you an octopus cult in the book. So, and remember to keep it real. You and your jokes. But I appreciate it. Thank you, chat. You guys have an awesome day. Have an awesome night. I'm going to get back to editing and cooling down here. So, chat, take it easy. I'll keep you guys posted on everything in the Discord as usual. And what's today? Today's Tuesday. I might do one more hobby stream for the week, but we'll see. Oh, no, today's Wednesday now. So we'll probably stream on Wednesday for... we're streaming on Wednesday for hobby-related in the afternoon. But on Friday, we have fly tying. So... But anyways, chat, we'll see you guys. You have an awesome night. Thanks again, Hip Fishing, for hanging out, dude. If you ever have any, we got our Discord, ! Discord and Twitch. But you can, I think you're in there, right? I always forget. But if you ever have any questions or something like that about tying, dude, just, feel free to ask whenever. So, if you ever need any tips. But thanks again. And, Cosmic, Jenny Bratz, appreciate it. You guys take it easy, everyone. I think we had Valor Games in here, too. You guys take it easy. We'll see you on Friday or Saturday, all right?